pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're insane now.
Right?
That's gonna happen today.
Take a minute and read over the minutes from the last meeting.
So do you have copies for the public to see, or?
I don't have a copy of the whole thing, but I can get you one.
I just, while they're reading, it might be nice if we could read them, or.
You can read my copies.
Okay.
And I can make more, if you guys would like more. Anybody?
Fast, but I don't read that fast.
Do you want me to read out loud? Yeah. Yeah, anytime you guys want copies, you can make copies.
I'll take one if you wouldn't mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
These are the ones that are posted in the post office,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No
I read those.
problem. Do you need the agenda too?
Yes, please. You guys get permission to accept the minutes?
I move we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
Alright, all those in favor?
Aye.
Minutes from last meeting approved.
Sorry.
Oh, good. Sit down here.
Pretty crowded.
Come down here.
Little Bruce. Haven't seen you in a while.
Get out here easy.
I know that feeling. I had trouble with my legs.
I'm throwing my body. It's not cooperating. I did get a new recliner though. Makes life easier.
Get it started. Alright, ARPA funds and backup generator, we're on the table until we can talk.
People.
Tonight,
Chelsea, you were here for Mosquito Festival.
Huh?
Oh, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
let's see.
That was probably. Who's the one that chose it?
See if we can-
Emily. Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't run.
Yeah, so everybody got that one?
Table.
Table, the backup
Yeah,
generator.
They were behind me. She basically behind me. And then, yeah.
I don't think you make notes on my agenda, but.
Come on, better.
It is right? I always get a kick out of board members that are like, making notes, and I'm like, hey guys, I'd like to click on it. Thank you.
That's why I'll do it on the back of the insurance.
There you go. I think it's so fun.
Is there water short?
Dates already.
Get your straight out of the.
Thank you, Cory.
We got you locked in.
You go nowhere.
Mosquito Festival.
Mosquito Festival update.
You guys are on.
Sweet. I like this. I just got here. We were looking for approval to sell off and or give away all the merchandise left behind from What's His Buckets facilitator from last time. Considering he hasn't gotten it, it's been a couple years.
He left stuff behind.
Well, he left
shirts and
shirts, cups, frisbees, there's all kinds of stuff. So we were looking for approval on that to just get rid of it this year.
Because they belong to the Mosquito Festival anyway, don't they?
Well, at this point in time, if you think of it, the city owns it because he hasn't.
So wasn't
Gotten
he
it.
given a notice that it was there and he never picked it up? Isn't that correct?
He was gonna pick up some stuff and I don't think he ever did, no, he never
So,
gave that key.
By
so-
default?
Right.
And
And
that's-
some of that stuff actually is from Mosquito Festival years ago.
Yeah, so we figured, the ugly mustard t-shirts and whatnot, try to get rid of them. $5 a piece.
Now let's talk a little more positive.
Yeah.
Those beautiful golden
Are they golden? Alright.
All the product is back in the Mosquito Festival anyway, so it's appropriate to approve it.
Yeah, as long as he's not gonna come back and sue us.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he left stuff he purchased behind.
Well, and 3 years ago when we were
Not-
talking about it,
If
you
he
guys had
hasn't-
sent letters
if
and
he
the
hasn't
lawyers
looked at
sent
it,
Yeah,
letters.
we told him to come get
I
it.
kinda doubt very much
As long as
if
we have
he
that.
remembers it's there.
No, I don't think, well, why would he want it?
The cost of his storage fees versus his stuff not being picked up, I
Right.
think it's a fair balance.
Boom. See that I'm thinking the same thing, right? And it would open it up for more, all those totes could really help us out with extra stuff that we have, decorations, posters, all of our stuff. So it'll be kind of a win-win-win as far as clearing things out, reorganizing, getting rid of stuff.
So I move that we let them utilize what's in there.
Yep, I second it.
I'm
So that's
o-
tough.
okay.
Heck yes.
I'm okay with it as long as we know that we notified him before this year.
Yes, we
Gave him opportunity to come get it.
Yeah, I think he had multiple opportunities.
Yeah,
So-
well, as long as, if there was something official, cause the last thing we need is him coming back and
Well, I know the last
accusing us of
notice
something.
was from the lawyer himself, so.
It's probably not very likely.
I don't want any of it, yeah. I can't imagine what he'd use it for, but it was contentious enough that I don't know.
Was there anything you guys needed from us that I might not have on hand? Did Amy give a budget?
Or
Or-
were you gonna ask about the money for the entertainment?
Oh, yes, so there's this group called Romance in the West, and it's a multimedia 2-hour film type production. And since we haven't been able to get the cowboy poetry people to come in, we were thinking to bring them in instead. They're $500, and it's a 2-hour thing with a 20-minute intermission. And they said if we wanted to do ticket sales that we could split the profits on that, but we were thinking donation only because we probably do a lot better and supply popcorn, drinks, stuff like that. And so we were asking about having that come out of the budget from the city, if I'm correct. Don't quote me. Amy's not here to second me on this.
I've seen this presentation before I looked at it, it's really good.
It sounds
Yeah.
interesting. 200 years of the West, of gold mining, them coming over this way, the whole thing, so.
And it would be another draw for people to come. Were you
Uh,
planning on having it Friday night then?
We were gonna do it Friday night before the community dance, so it would be kind of a 4 to 6 for that Friday, and then our dance would be, I think we decided 8 to 10. That way it gave people time to break down, reset up, the whole shebang.
Sounds good.
So,
Will it be in this building or outside?
We haven't decided yet because we're looking at we might need tents. We know we've got VIPs who have a lot of different big tent things, like the one we got a couple years ago.
yeah.
Would it need to be dark for them?
That's another thing.
So
I think
okay.
they have a slide thing that goes.
Yeah,
through it,
it's like
so
a
it probably needs to be
projector
inside. Yeah.
That's what we're thinking. So we're gonna
Yeah.
have to revisit that. We're still trying to iron everything out.
I'm sure you guys could figure it out.
Oh yeah.
This sounds like a wonderful addition to the festival.
Yeah.
I think it would be really interesting. I'm even like, work? No, you can cover me. I'm gonna go to that.
So do we need a motion on that?
Big question right now is, do you need assistance from the city on the funding because of
think
the
that's
funding
what
that you guys need?
I think that's what we were gonna go for, is if we could get the $500 from our budget through the city
So
to
from
cover
your
what.
guys' budget.
Yeah,
But you also have some money
in the VIPs.
in the dips.
Yeah. So I just need to figure out how Amy wants to really do that, because she's our treasurer. She does the money.
It seems like it'd be worth the investment to me, because I think it would bring more.
I think it would bring a big crowd in.
Yeah.
It's interesting, it's new, why not?
And if you did donations, you probably would make quite a bit on it.
If not, at the very least, break even.
If we have
Close.
500 in the mosquito portion of the budget, I make a motion that we accept this.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And they're standing, maybe. I can hear the truck.
So should I wait on my next question?
Depending on what
Something that me and Amy were talking about.
oh, then yeah, you might wanna wait for Amy to come in. We've all been so busy, we haven't gotten together here too soon.
Here she is.
I got
That's
Romance in the
amazing.
West approved and merchandise approved.
Sweet.
Yeah, I got a question. You come up with the vendor fee yet?
Yes.
Alright,
Yeah.
what'd you come up with?
So for the vendor fee, they'll set up Friday. They can set up either Friday if they want or Friday evening, whatever. We'll do $30 a day or $50 for the whole weekend. So if they just want to come Saturday, it's $30. If they want to come Friday night to Sunday, it'll be $50.
Alright, and I went ahead and contacted 3 of those organizations that I talked about.
Okay.
And if they have nothing going on, they will have stuff here for the parade.
Okay.
So,
And I think the Gaylord family is planning on doing something for the parade in memory of John.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last well, Stacy's here again, I'll see her tomorrow. But that's what she said last time I saw her. So.
Are you sure?
Yes, I
Jesus.
we can get you a chair.
I was just gonna say.
There's some competition ones. That was the only question I had for Amy, so.
So we got approval for that, and we got approved for the 500 to come out of the city fund for Romancing the West. Also, Pacific Credit Union made another donation of plates, napkins, and $1,000.
Oh,
Yes.
nice.
And I'll be in touch with all of our yearly sponsors that we had last year, see if they want to continue with their sponsorship and go from there. I'm also gonna reach out to a couple other places that I didn't get to last year.
One last thing just from me.
Just from you, are you
Just
sure?
from me to put this out there. So if anybody utilizes and partakes in our sound equipment, to let us know if something gets broke instead of finding out down the road.
No, that.
So
Ooh.
I am getting it fixed, but it looks like somebody pulled too hard on a mic cable
Oops.
and popped it inside the big speaker.
Oh.
So, but I mean, that's just, if you just come forward and say, hey, this happened,
Yeah.
it's a lot easier than trying
Finding
to
out
do
next time.
trying to do a big fire meeting and you find out the mics no longer work. So, but that's just for anybody.
On the barbecue, as far as the meat goes, I haven't made any calls about that yet. I've been trying to just kind of wait around till a little bit closer to time. There has been discussion of possibly still doing the pit, It's the equipment and the hands that we are gonna need to do that. Another thing was mentioned, maybe still doing some meat in the pit, but possibly offering other meats as well, like some chicken or some ribs or something just on barbecuers. Because with the price of everything going up the way it is, we just don't know what prices are gonna look like for, 300 to 500 pounds of meat this year.
Yeah.
Also, with needing the amount of people it takes to put together the barbecue itself is, we're running on that. My chemo got pushed out a week, assuming things continue accordingly, I'll be done at the end of June, but then I'm supposed to start radiation sometime in July or August, so, with that being said, I probably won't be around much during Mosquito Festival. I'll still be, at home finishing recovery and stuff like that, and trying to get myself prepared to live in Klamath 5 days a week for 4
She's
weeks.
gonna stay in the AC and we're all gonna sweat.
If radiation starts before Mosquito Festival happens, you won't see me at all during the weekend because sun exposure is something I'm not allowed to have. So, I won't be the extra set of hands this year again, and so that's something we really need to push the issue on. Is just help, pretty much. I think we need to get it out as soon as possible. That any hands on deck are hands appreciated.
Yeah.
At this point, I'll do what I can from behind my desk, but other than that, you won't really see me a whole lot on the front line. So, and then for the t-shirts, we put in a drawing contest at the school for the design for the logo on the t-shirts this year. So the kids are working on that. We should have that hopefully by the end of the school year, June, the beginning of June at the very latest. So we can hopefully get started. But once we get the contest done and we pick a winner, which we'll have to bring that to the city so you guys can see what we want to do there. And then we'll get t-shirts and stuff like that going after we get the logo.
Are you gonna do the same as you did last year? The plain and then you guys put on?
No.
No? Okay.
So Jen Douglas was really interested in doing our shirts this year, and she has all the stuff to do it. I told her we can either provide her with supplies, t-shirts, blank t-shirts, and whatever it is that she might need ink to do them, or if she wants to pay for it, go the cheapest route she possibly can, and we'll discuss trying to reimburse whatever's going to be best for everybody. But it was something that we definitely needed to discuss further. We just wanted to make sure that if we outsource this year, we have the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, because Danny and I definitely don't have the time to sit there and weed all the t-shirts again this year.
No.
And we're hopefully going to do some different colors, not just white. We're thinking maybe some grays or some color of some sort. That's all stuff I plan to get started checking into prices and seeing, because if we can just buy t-shirts in bulk and we'll pay for them, and then if Jen wants to make them, we can cut a deal with her on price,
Supplies and
and labor basically. See what she would want for that. So I'll need to talk to her a little bit more. And then, as far as like vendors go, I need vendor applications, and I need to know what our insurance requirements are for them, so I can let them know ahead of time. That way, if they decide they don't want to pay for insurance, then they can't come.
Do you even know how many vendors
I'll get
you
that
have?
for you.
Yeah, because I know
Off the top of my head, I can possibly 8 to 10 vendors right now.
It's not bad. We've
But-
been getting hit up a lot lately.
I'm also going to talk to the rodeo and see what their plans are for that weekend, because they have a couple vendors that I think would probably do better out there than they would here, because I don't want to interfere with any of our local people, and we have a coffee truck that wants to come. So I was thinking maybe they would do better out there than in here and not cut into lorries.
Well, they're enthusiastic about participating.
Yeah, that's what I hear. So I'm gonna try to get a group message with them and myself.
Okay.
And get started on that. And then that'll give us a better idea of where to place vendors. I have a hot dog truck that wants to come.
Heck yeah.
Leather worker, the rock guy that comes every year. So we've got a few
Yasmin
people
Starr.
already. I have not talked to the Christmas Valley Parks and Rec yet about their water slides. I need to get hold of Erica on that and see if they're gonna be able to come this year, if they need hands or, what they need to make it happen, because
So they will have insurance then?
Yeah, they have their own insurance, cause it's through the Christmas Valley Parks and Rec, so they have all their own insurance, all their own waivers, all their own everything. They just pay their vendor fee and then they do their own thing.
Well, you guys don't sell insurance anyway, I mean, the people who come here,
Are required to bring their own.
they bring their own,
Yeah.
so they're.
But I was thinking about when we were gonna rent like Joey's or something, we would have to have insurance.
Right, and they do, they have it year round,
Yeah, okay.
so there's, cause they just do it through
To the Parks and Rec.
the Parks and Rec, so they're insured regardless. And but they also make you sign a waiver anyway, when your kid comes over to swim or play. And then the pancake breakfast, I gotta talk to the church and find out if they are gonna wanna do that again this year like they did last year. I haven't talked to Patty or anybody else yet regarding the pancake breakfast, cause we're still just trying to get to the Vips Fiesta and the Mother's Day brunch, all that stuff. So I've been having to write stuff down so I don't forget what I'm doing. But I think that's about it. We're gonna do the Romancing the West Friday. That was a pretty big hit. Everybody I've talked to so far has been really into that. So I'm gonna call them today and let them know that we got it approved and we'll book them. And then I think we'll just do it as a showing, cause they do like a dinner and a show thing. And they said, we can sell tickets if we want to sell tickets, or we can put out a donation bucket if that's what we choose to do. If we do sell tickets, they usually promote all the ticket sales and then they do like 50-50 with us. But as long as they get their $500, they said they really didn't care what we did with the show as far as how we wanted to.
So the donation bucket would be simpler, wouldn't it?
It
I think so, yeah.
And usually people are pretty generous with donations.
Yeah, and
so-
like having some popcorn and sodas and stuff like that.
Yeah, we might
as-
do a little like free popcorn and like 50-cent sodas or something, just a little
Yeah.
concession type deal. Cause it's a 2-hour and 15-minute show with a 20-minute intermediate, whatever.
Intermission.
Yeah, intermission, that's what I was going for.
That thing.
That thing, in the middle.
we have to switch the tapes up.
So, but they seemed pretty excited and interested, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to bring it since cowboy poetry, the
I definitely want
Sonny
to.
Hancock Lamb Cliff Memorial won't make it this year. I think it'd be good for everybody. Something new anyway. So, I'll call them today and get on their schedule, and then I'll work out the details of that, and then I'll get back to you guys with that. What we're gonna do there.
Thanks for all your efforts, guys.
Yeah.
Getting it. Slowly but surely.
I think that's about it, really. We covered every day. We might do a community dance Friday evening in the basketball court like we did last year. Just kind of depends on how things are going. The closer we get, but
Yeah, and I think we could pull it off.
yeah, because I was thinking doing that Romancing the West show from like 4 to 6 or 6:30, somewhere in there, Friday. And they were talking about needing to do it indoors because it's a slideshow, so it's gotta kind of be dark. But
There's that question.
yeah, I think it needs to be indoors because they asked about outdoor use and canopies and things like that. And I was like, well, we really don't have anything like that. We have canopies, but if you're looking for a dark setting, you're best to do it inside.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, and then once that's over, we could always just do a community dance, whether it be in the community center or in basketball court.
Basketball court was pretty awesome.
It's pretty good. So, I think that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Now it's just mostly making phone calls and finding pricing and stuff. I think
Finding
our
details.
meal plan for the barbecue, like I said, was meat of some sorts, whether that be the beef in ground, chicken ribs. We were gonna do that potato mac salad like we did last year, and beans and rolls, and possibly a green salad. We'll see.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I think we said something about a salad.
And then we can figure out, once I figure out meat, what we're gonna do with the meat, that'll give us an idea of what we can charge.
So one of your big needs right now is helpers, right?
Yeah, just hand setting things up and serving and putting things together.
We just need to have that meeting with, like you and I talked about, with the rodeo people,
Yeah.
because they were, when they came to meeting, they were very enthusiastic and open to participating and really getting established and making it one festival with a lot of help versus rodeo festival.
Yeah.
So once you get that scheduled, let us know.
And like I said, I'll see, Stacy's in town, I'll be seeing her tomorrow.
Okay.
And so I'll tell her that we need help, cause I think in the past the family has helped with, serving and stuff. So I think several I think she's planning on having friends and family come as a special memorial for John, so I'll see if I can recruit some help for you.
That would be
Awesome.
great. And then we need an announcer for the parade. If you know that.
Which means we need to get a hold of
Because last year I just threw Wayne Boyd into it last minute. And he did. But I'll try to be a little bit more organized as far as who we have up there, what they're driving, and all that stuff. Because I went up there the morning of and just threw together a list of who everybody was and what they were driving,
And did a great job.
yeah, if that's what you would call it. So I'll have a little bit better of a list and a little more time to kind of figure out who's going to be here. Because we do have a few people that come last minute that we don't know are going to show up, but that's fairly simple. Just run out and get a name. And
I'll talk to Albert about the PA system again.
yeah, and then Albert usually lets us borrow his PA system, but we need an announcer.
Yeah. He usually will say yes, unless he's in a mood. We'll see. We'll see. He usually isn't with me.
So yeah, and then once I get pricing and stuff, I can kind of get an idea of what we're gonna do as far as meat goes, and then what we can charge for the barbecue and portion sizes, what we feel is gonna be best. And now that we've done it last year, we know how much of what to make and how much of what not to make. And
Should lean on some county elected officials to come and, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They
Participate.
show up at stuff, participate, announce, things like that, have them.
Really good.
Like once they're running for office,
Yeah,
like.
that's true, but have it spread throughout.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we can-
Yeah, he likes the sound of his voice.
You know,
Speaks well.
Really,
He speaks
but-
well.
But I know that Mark would probably show up and help, Mark and his wife,
Yeah.
Albertson. And there are so many people running for some of these things. I don't
Well, and that's the other thing. Is
That's actually a really
The
good
election is
point.
afterwards. It's a good campaign for him.
Clark.
Yeah, if you give them some kind of award, they will show up.
They get to eat for free at the barbecue.
That's pretty much what they get.
They get a free plate. We don't give them a participation award.
Either food or an award.
Yeah.
We can get
Well,
them
they
all.
can't take too much, but yeah, we give them a little. Well, we have some of the Mosquito Festival pins or something. There you go, that's it.
No, we haven't gotten that far.
Okay, well, and then on that note,
Anyway.
Emily's wanting to do like a run walk type deal.
Excellent.
Saturday, Sunday, Friday, somewhere during Mosquito Festival.
Good idea.
Yeah, we have a new, I'm one of 3 directors. It's a new nonprofit in Lake County that's supporting and providing some sort of relief for elderly and disabled of Lake County. So we just got the ball rolling on all of that. And so Mosquito Fest would be our first event, like in the public. And our first mission or goal is to bring the Meals on Wheels to Paisley again for the seniors and disabled. And so this will be our first fundraiser for that.
Awesome.
We'll have a vendor with some other stuff, but then I wanted to see if it would be okay if we did a walk. I'm thinking on Sunday, but I'm also teetering back and forth because I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
But when have they done those walks in the past?
I
Well,
was thinking Saturday.
I feel like it was Saturday morning. They usually did them
He's got to
pretty
time it before
early
the rodeo.
because of how.
and
For more
We drive
participation.
them up.
Yeah, I think they drove them up so
to
far, dropped them off, and then they ran and walked back.
Yeah.
And they usually try to do it fairly early just because of how hot it tends to get.
Well, this one I wanted to try to cater to like families and kids even. And I didn't want to make it super long or anything. I was thinking just even to the falls and back from the end of Mill Street Falls and back. We also had thrown in the option of making it kind of a fun optional opt-in, opt-out color run, just because we'll have t-shirts on our waivers that people can buy. So if they buy those and they would check a box on the waiver and want to participate, we could have a volunteer of ours that would add some color on them, and mainly for kids and stuff like that. But yeah, I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure that would be okay. And we did contact our insurance and stuff already, so they're on board.
So probably Saturday morning would be better than
Okay.
Sunday. I think you'd probably
Yeah,
get
because I
more
feel like they would do
participation.
that, and then
And we will
like
have
the
a
free
float
outfit,
in that
that's what
parade
usually
also.
happen.
So then you would want, we're gonna cancel out on saying join us for the walk after the parade.
Well, yeah, however
Yeah.
it works, because we will have a float in the parade too, but that was just a
I'm
minor part
doubling
of
it up over here.
But yeah.
What's the name of the organization?
Kindred Connection Foundation.
Yeah, so we just mostly needed to get city's approval on a fun run walk type deal for them to do that during Mosquito Festival. And also we need to know from city's point, what legal stuff do they need to do to make this happen? Is there anything specifically in the city's?
There's the waivers and everything else, and I talked to Milton Fuller, they'll have to
that's
add
what we're
us as part of the
using also.
insured, just like yours.
Perfect. And I have waivers already done.
So then we'll start buckling down on that. And
Yeah, I
how
just
we
have
want
to
to
set
set
it. After this, then I was gonna finalize all the details and stuff.
Perfect.
I'm good. No, I'm in the middle of a meeting, sorry. Alright, I'll talk to you later. Thanks, bye. That was Andrew.
You said his name and he calls.
He says, do you always have something like that?
So as long as city approves it, and then just we make sure we jump through all the legal hoops.
Would they just be
Mosquito
treated
Festival
as a
has no
vendor,
problem with them doing
basically?
it.
I was just gonna ask, did you wanna
They
do
got
that?
Well,
us
I think
a
if it's a vendor, then the funds come back to us.
Yeah, I think
So,
it's, so they have a
they would
vendor
be a
booth that they're
separate-
gonna have set up.
Well, we're gonna do pre-registration for the walk part. Also.
Yeah,
But they
so-
have their own insurance, just like,
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
as long as they're doing their own insurance thing and it's technically their own stuff, it was more or less just, is the city okay with them doing their own thing that day?
Well, since it's through a vendor, do we even need to make a motion?
Well, that's what I'm saying, if they go in as a vendor for the fun run, then isn't it normally the funds come back to the city?
Yeah.
So they need to do their own thing, not as a vendor.
Okay.
So
Oh,
for
yeah.
the
For the fun run, they have a
Yes.
vendor
They have a
booth
vendor
with
booth
information.
Okay.
they'll pay
Okay.
their vendor fee for
Because we
their
want it
booth,
to benefit
but
the,
then the fun
the-
run will
yeah,
just.
so
be
there's
a
a
separate
foundation,
business.
yeah.
so we do need to make a motion.
Yes.
Okay, so I make a motion, we allow them to, put this fund on as a fundraiser for the organization.
I second.
All those in favor?
Thank you. That's pretty much it, huh?
I think so for now, yeah.
Do you guys have any more questions for me as far as Mosquito Festival and what we do?
do you need help getting up?
No, no, my legs are falling asleep.
I'll get her
I'll just fall out the door and fall in there.
Like, I'll just roll her out.
Don't go yet, because the next thing on the agenda is what we talked about with the concert thing.
Oh.
And then that covers it.
I have a question for you, this is a Mosquito Festival, what time are we getting together Thursday to set up for the fiesta?
I was gonna ask her earlier too.
Is there anything going on here Thursday morning before?
Well,
Just
we
the
have the exercise, but we could,
Oh, what time do you guys get done with that?
They're done.
Oh,
yeah.
maybe after 9,
I figured I'd be available by noon.
but it's Thursday.
Yeah,
It starts at 3. Yeah, probably like noon.
noon. That's,
Okay.
I think that'll give us plenty of time to set up and
Because
cook.
Patty said she didn't get a whole bunch of decorations. We weren't going all out. It was mostly just tables, chairs, and some tablecloths. And
Okay.
pinatas. So.
Yeah, 'cause she did all the shopping. She did.
They did that. That's nice. Moving right along.
Alright, Chrissy's conditional use permit.
total.
You're bugging me now. In a wheelchair.
This is the other one. Paper dog letter.
So, they are. Right after the letter from Amy, and I actually got them to print as
This is
all
awesome how
five
you
on
did
one
this.
page.
Oh, is that what, I thought they were
Yeah.
on one page.
You and your electronic wizardry.
I think it was just an accident.
It was a good one.
So are we addressing all of these projects?
Mhm.
All 5 of them? It seems like it'd be better to do it one at a time. And it seems like a lot, but.
We talked about this a while back, right? Oh, yes. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, maybe it's making noise.
Usually it's a time, but like maybe it's just. More for anybody else. We don't have it. There's 2 more. 6 o'clock. You know, even if it started.
So good, I'm saying.
Oh, thank you.
You and me, my kids, I mean, walk from the middle street to Tulsa, and time ourselves.
Yeah. That's actually not a bad idea.
Can you print this on bigger plans?
So one page has all of them on it.
And darn it.
Let's go down the list.
That's different.
Hopefully somebody reads this out loud, because I can't read this. It's bigger than small.
Only if there's liquid courage involved.
That'll be fun. Yeah, it's one of those.
Okay. Done.
Okay, are you gonna start with your leading?
Start with number 1. Veterans Memorial. We'll just go down the list.
Maybe read them out loud so people can hear.
Yeah, Greg, could you do that?
She's having trouble seeing this.
I'm making it there, all Chris's.
So Chrissy, why don't you read it out loud so they know what we're talking about?
Yeah.
There you go. I was gonna try, but.
Go larger print.
I just got new glasses and they're like,
It's a little darker.
Okay, but,
this is like the ink's running out or
oh,
something.
yeah. So they're
This just-
all pretty much,
Try it. Yeah, try that.
they're all pretty much connected because of location. I'm gonna start with the top one. My request for a Veterans Memorial, which would be on city easement right outside my property. It says I respectfully request permission to improve the city easement along Main Street in Cottonwood outside my fence line. Since I took possession of the property 6 years ago, I've done the maintenance and required mowing and cleanup. I would like to bring in some fill dirt and gravel to eliminate the need and cost for mowing and any weed removal. Eliminating potential mosquito habitat would be a positive byproduct as well. The city easement along Cottonwood is used for EMS and volunteer firefighter parking. Robert Davis, representing Paisley Volunteer Fire Department, supports graveling the area where they park. I would like the proposed site of a community veteran service memorial to be located in that area, to be gravelled as well along Main Street outside my fence line, which provides visibility and ease of access for members of the community. My family will provide the maintenance and the burden of all costs currently and future maintenance of the memorial. My proposal will not be a financial burden or responsibility of the city. Thank you for your consideration.
So my question is, what is it gonna look like? I mean, how big is it gonna be and that sort of thing?
I'm working with Elmer's Flags in Portland. they help set up memorials, and basically it would be pretty much centered along that easement where my old driveway used to be, and
Is that
it- on Main Street.
on Main Street?
On Main Street,
Oh,
so
okay,
you
okay.
you can see it right from coming down the hill. So it would be on the left-hand side, and it would have Old Glory in the middle, and on one side would be the service flags of all the branches of military, and on the other side would be community service, police, fire, medical.
So it's gonna be flags.
It's flags.
It's not gonna be like a
No, it's
statue or a
flag.
wall or anything.
It's flags with plaques, and we're trying to figure out with our variety, weather, and so forth, what would be the most nice to look at, but also ease of care, and be able to add names of service members and so forth as the years go on.
So people would just see it as they're driving by, they're not necessarily.
Would be one bench, and then the flags, and just pretty much a dedication bench. So that's something very simple. The flag poles, I think when I was talking to Elmer's, they said anywhere between 10 to 15 feet, because we want to make sure we stay away from the power lines above, and talk to Surprise Valley, and they're going to get me more specifics.
So the flags are gonna be on poles and not gonna be on the fence?
No, they'll be on poles. They'll be
How
on
many
poles.
are flags are we talking here?
Don't know yet, because we're still, Elmer's is working that out, and we're discussing the different varieties. Sometimes they have a combination of services on one pole. Aesthetics will be figured out later. Right now, before we move forward, need to find out if we can move forward on this.
Well, how about instead of having it on poles, having like on banners that you can put on your fence there?
Because fences come and go, and poles are forever.
What about the irrigation ditch? What's the proximity?
Nowhere near it. We're talking just, it's on Main Street.
Oh, okay,
It's on Main Street.
okay.
Yeah, the front ditch is way up here, and the back one's, the creek's down below. So it's pretty much right in the middle.
There used to be a ditch along there, I guess there isn't anymore.
No, it's all just, it's, and you would know, it's all just flat.
And is this the city giving you the easement permanently, or is this a temporary?
It's
If
just,
you were to leave and the next person that bought your place decided they did not want it,
well, we've addressed that at home. So the property will never be sold. It's being written up right now as a family trust. So it's gonna stay in the Elder family.
so are
In
you
perpetuity.
requesting that the city grant you this?
Not the whole thing, just to be allowed to put the flagpoles in there. And flagpoles are something that are not they are permanent, but they can be removed easily if the city, if we had a boom and they decided to expand the road.
Well, that's
So
what I'm wondering, what your
it's
width is
minimally
for
invasive.
the city streets.
Right, because the easement on that side of Main Street is, what do we figure, Missy, it's 32, we measured, and it was like, it was like 32 feet, so it's really big compared to normal easements are usually only 10.
32
So-
feet from where? The center of the road?
From the road, from the center of the
From
road.
the edge of the road or the center of the
From
road?
the center of the road
Okay.
over.
So
Yeah,
how
that's
many
pretty
flagpoles are
This
you
might be widened.
thinking of?
Too.
Well, on the military services on the on one side, just each one representing a branch of service.
So that would be 4 flagpoles.
No, there's merchant marines, that's why we're talking.
So we're talking
numbers.
about a lot of flagpoles, and it sounds like.
Well, it would be, the most, I think it would be 8. But they would be, there's the upper flagpoles and then the lower flagpoles, so they wouldn't take up a lot of space. It's very minimal.
And they're all on Main Street side.
They're all right next to it would be near the fence line on the Main Street side. So there would still be room to pull the vehicle up and park. That's how far back the flagpoles would be, because we want to utilize that space wisely and for city parking as well. We're gonna
Is
gravel
your
it.
fence line right on your property line, or is it sits back?
It's on the property
It's
line.
right on
Yep.
the property line.
Yep, and I wanna, that space is just growing grass and weeds, so let's utilize it for, people walk, they park there anyway to go get coffee from Miss Lori, or when there's overflow from something going on at the fire station.
Are
We're
you
always
talking
parking.
about this front?
Both sides. This side, Main Street side would be the flagpoles.
Main Street's going
Going
up the
up
hill.
toward
Yeah, Main Street is this
Okay,
side
and
right
this
here.
is
Right, and then Cottonwood,
Cottonwood.
if I'm gonna pay to have stuff hauled in, I'm gonna gravel
You're not-
both.
But
Because
there is still a ditch there, isn't there, on this one?
no, the creek is inside the property line in the middle of the yard.
That's on Cottonwood is the one.
Right, but there's not a ditch that
But she
runs in
can't-
front of
there-
Murphy's anymore.
There's a ditch right
Yeah,
out
there
here.
is.
Yeah, there is.
There's
Well,
there's
up
just
front,
down the
that's-
highway.
Yeah, on
what
this
she's
side
saying.
of your property, there's
Runs
a
in
ditch.
front of your property.
So the creek, the ditch runs in front of the barn and cuts catty corner.
No, I'm talking about right here.
Behind
Right in
it.
front, you said
Right,
they park by the
Oh no, on
coffee
the
shop.
behind. No, they park on the street on Main Street side
Oh.
and walk over. Whenever
Okay.
there's semis parked here, they'll just pull up and park
Oh,
right there in the
I
grass.
understand now, okay, I'm
They pull
sorry.
up horse trailers and
I thought
whatever.
you meant just right here in front.
They do. It makes us nervous because they sometimes do get kind of close to that ditch.
But there is a ditch, so
Right.
I haven't been there.
But no, I wouldn't be messing with any of that. That's water master domain. We just weed eat and things and keep it neat and tidy. Just on the roadsides where people pull up and park anyway.
Do you have a diagram of what you plan, like where you're gonna place things?
We haven't done that yet because until I get approval,
Well, I just
I
don't
think
think
they
we
wanna
can
see it
give
before they
approval
approve
until
it.
we have a diagram.
it's flag poles right next to the fence line.
I
That's
think I
all.
know, but like measured from the center of the road to like how far it is gonna be off the
It's
road
gonna be
and
2
stuff.
feet off the fence line, so probably 10 to 15 feet.
And then
So there's
as
room for
far as
vehicles to still
underground,
park.
you'll do all that, checking for underground utilities.
That was already done when we had to do the electrical work
Will
on the
have to
property.
be done again.
Yeah.
So anytime, well, yeah, when they dig. So I talked to Surprise Valley already because we had to talk about distance from the top of flagpoles and so forth. So they're already prepared to come back out again and officially sign off the dig.
And what other
yes,
underground things?
Well, you do
the
telephone,
FiOS, telephone, water, sewer,
And the
all
water
that.
and sewer is gonna be coming up, so are there sewer lines under where these might be?
No.
Water
Well,
lines?
No.
No
They're-
water lines.
Farther to the side.
I just think I'm hesitating to vote on anything that we don't have some sort of drawing up for because, I mean, I know you want approval ahead of doing, but it can be a drawing just like this is just show like the 8 flagpoles, because you guys are still in the planning stages of planning it. You don't know exactly what you're building, so it's hard for us to ultimately give approval without,
Then we
The
can leave the
drawing is
flagpoles and the memorial off of this and just focus on the approval to gravel and improve the ground around. Because that doesn't affect any digging.
but I don't think you need city approval to bring gravel in.
It's the city easement, so I have to get permission. So as long as the city is okay with me graveling, improving, so there's no more mowing and weeding needed.
Well, I move that we give conditional approval for the graveling and then wait for the diagrams of the flagpoles.
I'm second.
Can you write that down, Missy? That's glorious.
I love that. Move on.
You're just improving her. Yeah,
I
I'll
don't
second
think yeah, that one I don't think is I know I'm about to drop a stop sign on the corner of the property, right? Right there,
Yeah, we're excited about that.
just
Really
making sure.
excited. No, the gravel would not go down near the mouth of the water from the creek or the poles or anything like that, because that would interfere.
So we're
So it's
tabling
Okay,
the memorial, but allowing the improvements to
yeah,
the gravel.
allow the improvements, table the thing until further diagram, but
in the improvements, I'm sorry,
It's just bringing
Just the
gravel.
gravel.
I just want
gravel.
fill dirt and gravel to just improve that and make it nice and neat and tidy.
And then you
Then
can spray it.
people
on both sides of your driveway are you
Yes,
talking from
yeah.
ditch to ditch?
Yeah, from ditch to ditch and then across the back where the fire
Yeah,
department
you
parks.
impede the ditch and you're gonna be in another realm.
No, we're gonna be
As far as that is and I'm just asking questions,
Oh,
cause
no,
I
you're supposed
remember
to.
when
No, it's
we lived there.
That's good.
I just wondered about the ditch group. Have you contacted them with your ideas?
The water use.
It's nowhere near the water where I wanna do it. I just wanna put gravel where they're already parking, pretty much.
And they're
and
just
eliminate-
parking there because they parked there for years.
Right.
and, you
Which
know,
works out great because
it's not
that's.
a request from the fire
No.
department.
No, but if I'm gonna spend the time and energy having them haul in, let's make it all look nice and have consistency and just have it gravel because they're all parking there anyway. and I don't have a problem with that at all, especially since we all do
There's a
fire.
chair.
Yeah.
Well, and I know Robert.
EMS also. Yeah, my family does that anyway, so it
Right.
works.
Hop the fence and go over.
Okay, no, I just was trying to figure out what
I was gonna let her say, oh, I'll be here Thursday. In the
Oh.
morning, so
Yeah,
if
just-
anybody needs anything done. I got a bunch of stuff to do at the ice, at the library.
Okay.
So if anybody needs anything done for the town or anything,
Not at my house, though.
can't go to your house.
Sorry.
Can't go to your house. But I'll be here Thursday,
Okay.
probably by 9:00.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah, just if anything that goes near the ditch obviously has to be run by the
So maybe
irrigation.
there should be kind of a diagram
Yeah,
showing
Easter.
that plan as well.
It already is, it's with my packet from what was presented for the business
So
plan
does the
with everything.
city, does the council already have that?
Mhm.
So you
Which
guys have already
With
looked at it?
The,
gravel?
the draw out of the whole property from the engineering.
The houses, yeah, we have the one that.
The houses, it's got the fence line, it's got the creek running through it, the whole
Like
plot
where
is
the
on there.
gravel's gonna be and,
No, we don't have that. That
Just
was the
so-
gravel's gonna be what she's talking about now. We don't.
But it doesn't
It's just
sound,
gonna be outside the fence line where the grass is.
doesn't sound like the gravel is.
So when you go down to the fire hall and you hang a left,
yeah,
all the fire department parks in that muddy, swampy mess right there all year long.
it's not
And
really
it tears
nice
it up.
looking except for a couple
well,
of weeks.
But it gets that way, and I know it
It
gets that
can
way
be, I
because
know it can be.
Robert's had
Right
to
now
pull
that
somebody
is-
out of there before, and that's their
Yeah.
whole goal is to just gravel that. So when our guys are going down there, they're not having to worry about parking their trucks in mud and then having to, sling mud all over and
And
tear
everything
up
would be
the
10
area.
feet on either side of the creek, so we're going
Especially
nowhere
when they're
near the mouth of the creek.
Because
Right
that's the
now,
last
that
thing
whole
on
street
Robert's
is
mind.
flooded. Has
I
anybody
know.
driven down there? It's all
Yeah,
flooded.
the Jan Murphy
Yeah.
told me yesterday,
So-
she's like, what's up? I have no idea, cause it's rushing
There's too
from
much water in the ditches.
up top side and
Yeah,
running
I
on
could agree
through.
with that. My ditch is almost
And
overflowing.
would it
Yeah.
not be the city's responsibility to gravel it, or
That's what I'm saying,
you just wanna do it?
it's city easement, it is their property, but
But she wants to pay for it.
I would like to improve it myself because it's gonna benefit everybody and I have the resources to do it.
Okay,
So it would not add on to the financial burden of the city because
gotcha.
we don't have an income as a city per se to do things like that right now. We gotta focus on infrastructure and water.
I mean, we approved the Nasby's here a while back, they redid the sidewalk outside their house, this little cabin down here on the corner, and I mean, technically, the city should be doing their sidewalks, but
Right.
they were like, you know what, we're just gonna do it, we're gonna pay for it, they did come to us, and they had a drawing, and they had exactly what they were gonna do, how wide it was gonna be, and they had a local contractor
Actually,
do it.
according to the state and most places in the state, you may not own the sidewalk, but you're responsible for the
Yeah.
sidewalk in front of your
front of
property.
you,
that is
You are.
Yeah, but
not
they
the
usually
state.
not responsible for all the maintenance on it. Keeping them
Absolutely,
clean.
when tree roots go up
Your
there,
insurance
The-
pays if somebody.
the
Well, your
insurance-
insurance,
they
if somebody paid,
the
yeah. I see
E-Web
what
will
you're
come
saying.
in and grind it down, but if the bill goes to the
The
homeowner,
homeowner,
Okay.
well,
It's good to know.
You didn't know that?
I'm gonna go trip in front of somebody.
I live in the back
That's
corner
very
where
true.
nobody comes.
I'm just surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm gonna go trip over something like that in front of your house.
So have we established that then, that we approve the gravel and and the other is pending?
I have a motion. I don't have a second or a vote.
Second.
All those in
Who
favor?
seconded it?
I think
You made the motion.
You made the motion. You're like, "What? Yeah, hello." No, I'm sure. So yeah, to haul in gravel for the existing areas, I mean, my fear is going close to the ditch. We have to stay away from the ditch or we're gonna be, we can't approve anything within how many feet of the ditch? I know there's a
That I don't
distance,
No, it's,
but
the flagpoles are gonna be on
No, I know.
my old driveway, so
not the
I'm nowhere
flagpoles,
near the
but I'm
ditches.
talking about any kind of fill going into the
Oh,
ditches.
no, 10 feet away at both ends. We're not going anywhere near the ditch.
I know,
I
I
talked to-
don't wanna deal with it.
I got the 10-foot number from the water master in Lakeview.
Sounds like everybody just needs to go on a little field trip right now
Yeah.
and be
Right.
told and shown exactly what's going on here.
So what do you,
Alright, so,
well, I guess, so
alright, so we
staying 10 feet
motion,
away from
motion for the gravel,
just gravel, yeah,
and then wait on diagram for the
memorial.
memorial.
Okay, next.
Next, proposed music venue, and this is what I'm talking to Amy about. So this is my location, but a mosquito festival activity. So I would like to respectfully request permission to utilize my property as a location for musical events. The first event I would like to propose is on June 5th. It would be a concert to benefit the Paisley Mosquito, to begin the Paisley Mosquito Festival concert series. These are backyard style concerts meant for small venues. I spoke with our local fire department here and was referred to the fire marshal. So the size will be completely dependent on what the fire marshal says, because I have to give him the measurements of the backyard and all that stuff. So size will be dictated by insurance company and the fire marshal. So basically it's just a conditional use approval, because I can have,
What's wrong with this building?
it's an outdoor event. It's an outdoor activity. It's
Plenty of outdoor here with restrooms.
Would it
And
be
meets all the
inside your
code
fence?
It's in my backyard. In the
What do you do
backyard.
for bathrooms there?
Because I have outhouse right now.
Is that enough?
They'll bring more in depending on how many bodies.
But still, what's wrong with this building?
This is a personal event that I'm doing.
So how many people would you?
It depends on what the state fire marshal says. They have to give me the numbers. So basically, all I need from city council is the approval to use the
Are
backyard
you
for
charging
music
admission?
venues.
Sorry, Jenna, are you charging admission?
It's gonna be a fundraiser, so we
I
haven't,
thought
we're
that
gonna be
again.
discussing,
This building wanted to raise money for this community center.
but this is a personal thing that I'm doing. This has anything to do with the city.
So you're
This
is
taking
something
money
that
away
I'm
from the
doing.
city.
The insurance, it's all your liability.
100%
Yeah,
my
she's
activity.
just liable for it, but the money will go to the Mosquito Festival Fund.
Right,
So
and
that way we can do our thing.
It's a
My-
private event.
my
You
previous,
carry all you're liable for
Yeah,
everything,
100%.
whether there's alcohol.
Exactly, so if
Anybody's
somebody gets
hurt or
stumbling
anything
down,
like that.
drunk and trips and
Right.
falls and breaks their neck,
right,
It's a hold harmless on the
that's on
city.
her and has
Right.
nothing to do with the city.
that. The only thing I'm requesting, but I was giving background of why I was requesting it, is the improvements that I've done to be able to have weddings and musical events and things like that. We're not talking sound stage and seats, we're talking backyard events. But wanted to begin a concert series because of my experience in the past, other places that I've lived, volunteering with the Chamber of Commerce and fundraising for communities and so forth. I was part of Mountain Festival Jazz when I first began. So you start small, but it can become incredibly lucrative and a massive fundraiser and a tourist draw for a community as well. So this is, with a new group of young ladies, fresh blood trying to get the Mosquito Festival going again, it's the perfect time to start something like this. Because the merchandise and people schedule things like this and they go every single year, it becomes something that they do. This is the optimal time to start something like this with the Mosquito Festival.
So I hear you when you say you're doing this, but I still don't understand why not this building and these grounds. Well, I don't. Explain it to me.
Because it's a backyard concert.
Well, this is a big yard out here. What's the difference?
Because I want to hold it in my
So
backyard.
that's why you're doing it, because you want to do it.
Yes, this is my, this is my
Right.
my thing that I want to do and have it benefit the Mosquito
It's
Festival.
not because of things here where you want to do it over there because you want to do it.
Yes. I didn't want to add one more thing for the city to have to figure out. This is something that I can do and then donate to the Mosquito Festival.
Well, my question is, what about parking for people that are coming to it? Where are they gonna park?
Well, gotta keep in mind, we're talking small. This is a small venue. I don't want it to be big. This is a small backyard concert series,
How do you
so
control
Give
that?
us an approximate number then.
whatever will fit in the backyard legally and safely according to the fire marshal,
And
so
what would that be approximately?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet.
But you figure 50 people.
Yeah, that's what I
If
was
you
thinking.
did for a wedding, 50 people,
Right.
you probably have 20 cars.
Right. And city parking all over. Because Paisley is a completely walkable town. And the goal of these events is more community focused versus, because when it does take hold and get bigger, then it will be moved to bigger venues, because that's the goal.
But move to where?
Could be moved to the fairgrounds, I mean, the rodeo
The
grounds. I
rodeo
mean,
grounds.
we have a lot of options out here that we haven't begun to touch on yet, but it's small steps to get
Like
there.
what?
Right now is just to get going.
What other options? I mean, private property is what we're surrounded by.
The fairgrounds up above, the rodeo grounds,
The dust.
they can water it down. I've been to many concerts in 30 years.
You're making allow discussions for other people.
Well, they got the water truck, right? Well, I mean, if we're gonna
Take a look at what they do at
spray it down with the
Lakeview.
water truck, like Terry used to do back in the day.
They have the concert every year during Roundup.
It gets dusty.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a group lined up for this?
Yes, I already do. It's a country folk band. It's five players, all hand instruments, no electronics needed, and so forth. My son actually went to school to the music program with one of the members,
So
which
you
is
said
how I found out about
There
this.
isn't gonna be a stage, you said?
One of the porches will be their stage. That's what they prefer. They prefer small backyard venues. And when I spoke to James, one of the members, and because they're doing a nationwide tour right now, and he was going to be in Northern California, it's like, well, I'm here. Can you swing up to Paisley and do one for me? And he's like, let me check. And he got back to me. I'm like, great.
So how are you, I think the question was asked, is how are you gonna limit the number of people?
You only sell so many tickets.
So they,
You
have to
keep a
buy
head count.
Yeah, it's just a
you'd have to buy the tickets ahead of time?
yes.
What kind of hours you plan on going?
It's going to be 4 in the afternoon because it is a Sunday, so it's just afternoon.
And is that, I'm just asking questions here, is that something that needs to be put out to neighboring people?
I already have, but
No,
yes.
I'm
Yeah.
asking for the city,
The
before
city has to
they make
send
an
out,
approval.
for
I
a
think
conditional
the
use
city
permit,
would need
absolutely.
to definitely
But don't we
reach out.
already have that in writing though?
Yes, I did that ahead of time to
No,
all my
No,
neighbors,
but
but the city has to reach
still
out.
has to go,
at the same
because you,
time.
like one that was Shelley, and she doesn't own that property, it has to go to the homeowner.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
And
And
it's
then-
like,
And
if
I
it's
told
really
him that the
bad,
city would be
it can
contacting him,
All
because
adjacent
I already talked to him on the phone,
yeah.
but in writing it came from
I'm not
Julie.
saying it's a bad
No.
idea, I'm just
But
saying
if
before we
if it's-
start putting these out there,
well,
we need to make sure as a city that we're covered.
you have like, if you have like one event, say somebody wants to get married, so say, I'm trying to think of, so Mary O'Leary, her son's getting married in their back pasture, she obviously
They can
isn't
do
in
as
city
they want.
limits, but if she was, she could come and ask for that one-time pass, and I don't know that that would have to go out to neighbors, for one event. But you're not asking for this one event, you're asking for a conditional use permit to host events on your
Right.
property.
From
So-
here till who knows when, so yeah.
Right, and there's really no like specific, I mean, they might be concerts, they might be weddings, they might be all sorts of different things, so it's kind of a little more complicated than just, I mean, I'm finding it hard to just vote a blanket rule on something like this, because, I mean, theoretically, we'd just go with your, you're not gonna do anything that's gonna badly affect your neighbors, but then, I mean, they're
Not on
this
purpose,
is
but
right, this is a
Things come
city,
up, yeah,
and
you
there's
don't
rules in the
anticipate.
city that you wouldn't have, like Mary doesn't have those rules out there, because she's outside city limits, but when you live in a city, you choose to live there, you're gonna have to go by rules, and neighbors impacting your, I mean, there's just a lot to this, it's not just approving one event, it's approving
And the events
here
are
on
gonna
out,
be,
and so I don't see how we can get this even
Well,
approved by that
possibly,
first date.
what about
because-
if we just approve that one event? As a
don't know.
fundraiser for the Mosquito Festival, and then,
because I'm allowed to have concerts in my backyard. I'm allowed to do anything I want to on my personal property,
Right.
as long as it doesn't affect my neighbors.
Right.
All of my neighbors are 100% supportive, and they wrote it in detail of my business venture, having weddings, having concerts. They supported every single thing.
But
Because
one
I
event
addressed
is
it ahead of
different than this being a conditional use
They
permit.
wrote out that they approved the entire business venture.
But there was one person that you didn't get the approval from.
Not in writing, but I spoke to Duke and I spoke to Jan, and I said, I'm not gonna have you do it in writing because the city's gonna send out letters again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of redundant, but that's the order. But I wasn't gonna waste the city's time if the neighbors were a no-go. So I went to the neighbors first,
Yeah,
I said,
that's
this is
fine.
what I would like to do,
All I'm
and they're
saying
like,
is-
absolutely.
All I'm saying is that June 5th is,
But I also think for the city,
yeah,
you need to have a paper trail. Verbal isn't
absolutely.
good.
Everything's in writing.
it has to be.
All
And
the letters-
and the city has copies.
All the
of
letters were
that.
Well, the letters that she sent out for, we have
Were-
copies of,
okay.
but the city still has
city
to, for a
still
conditional
needs
use
to
permit.
submit.
Yeah. I don't know about one one event. I don't know how that.
And I think really until the property is measured, you hear from the state fire marshal,
Yeah.
you
Which
make
he's
sure
gonna
you
be
have entries
Tuesday.
and
That's
exits.
what I was about to say.
Yeah,
We'll be
which
here
she does.
Tuesday.
Jeremy's
Yeah,
gonna
she
be-
does.
That'd be awesome.
He's gonna be here, but you have to call him.
Fences that she can easily get
And I'm
people
not,
in
you
and
guys, I'm
out.
not knocking it, I'm just
No,
saying.
I know,
I
but
just
that's the
think
thing is that,
that's-
I mean, it seems like every time we're asking questions, I mean, we do have to ask a lot of questions, but the problem is like, you know, my parents live in Summer Lake, they do all kinds of stuff, they don't have to get approval from me, but when you're in a city, there
Okay,
are.
But you
You
keep,
just have to ask more
I've heard the
questions. That's
same
why
thing,
there's
and
a
lots of
council.
questions are good, but nobody's giving me
Right.
So
a
I guess,
negative
all I'm
impact
saying
so
is that the
I'm
state's
not
too-
against this, I'm just looking, you know, say, and let's just go back to this, during Skeeter Fest, people are parked all over the place.
Yeah, well, they
And
park
it's
my
still
friend of mine.
in traffic.
Yeah.
But if you were to have a private event because the city granted you the blanket permit for however many venues you wanted in your lifetime, or they did it for a year, you know, conditional for 1 year, you know, you may have neighbors that live up on top of the hill. If you have cars that park, you no longer have your easement because you have flags here. Cars are parked halfway in the road. Who's controlling that? Somebody sideswipes a person's car that is attending, you know, your event. Is that your insurance? I guess those are the questions, or does it fall back on the city?
when I'm glad you mentioned that, because it doesn't fall back on the city. People sideswiping, doing things on vehicles and public property in a city, that's their own responsibility. That doesn't fall on the
That
city.
car, because that car chose to
100%.
park there.
Right. And
but,
besides my
but what
property,
about the?
I'm limited to how many people based on fire marshal. And large events are few and far between, because the other requests after this particular one, they're small events. The property is small. I'm not asking for stadium size
No, of course
activities.
you're
I'm
not.
talking
And I'm not stating
small
that.
backyard weddings. When I have people come to do the pottery retreats and so forth, we're talking 5 or 6 people.
Right there.
So
But not for a musical event. You're
no, a
probably
music event is
at
getting
least
larger.
25 people.
Right. And it's
Because it
not
wouldn't
during
be worth
Mosquito
it if you didn't
Festival
have it. Right.
on purpose.
Sure, for a one time.
Well, every year, the concert series will not be during Mosquito Festival.
It'll be
It's a
around it to
fundraiser for, it'll be
No, I'm
after
not
school's
questioning,
out.
I'm just questioning everything around in the community when people park freely. They do it for 1.5, 2 days. You know, they might park at the pub and at the store.
Because we've got
and
parking
walk
on both
to your
sides of the street
house.
here, both
Right.
sides of the street there, and then there'd be parking all down Main Street on Jolie's side, my side. If you count out parking spaces, because we don't have set sidewalks and designated parking, we have twice as much parking as we would if we had designated sidewalks and established parking. So right now, just walking through town counting, there's over 100 parking spots. That's not even the side streets, that's
On
just
the
here
on-
and there and there.
On the easements of the city.
On
That's what
regular
you're saying.
city parking.
Okay.
So
If
parking's
there's
not
something
a
else
burden.
going on here though, or something like that when you're
Yeah.
having.
Or like, what
I'm
if
just
there's a
saying,
funeral here and the music's blasting
Yeah.
over there? I just think the whole town should have some input, not just the immediate neighbors. Like, I can hear the trailer park from my house, I'm not their immediate neighbor. But if something like that was gonna be going on, you know, 3 houses down, it would impact
Right, and that's why this is a small,
peaceful Sunday
That's when
afternoon.
you call the police and
this
they're
is
like,
a small event that I'm talking
You
about.
couldn't if it was
I know.
a sanctioned concert.
Well, I don't think we trump, you know, if we approve something and it gets out of hand,
Right.
nothing, there can't come say.
I'm just
That's
saying,
what I
maybe the whole town should have input on
The whole
something that's
town-
gonna be going on in town.
But something that happens on my personal property, and I've had to address this a lot lately. I had people come because they were angry that I put up a fence because they couldn't see inside my yard anymore. So it's been interesting,
That's a
but I'm
different-
asking to be able to do a fundraiser for Mosquito Festival to benefit the
Okay.
community,
Right. I
and
get
doing
that.
something that is not electronic. It's 5 stringed instruments in my backyard.
But you're not asking for a one-time event. You're asking for a conditional use
Okay.
She has similar events.
She actually did say that they only last a year.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
However,
Permits are only a year at a time.
I didn't get that, I'm sorry.
I know, well, she just found out.
I
Okay.
missed
She was,
some of it,
she was
so-
signing it to me.
No, these are, the permits are only, they're only a year at a time. And this is a one-time-a-year event doing the concert series.
So
That's what
Okay.
that is.
yeah,
So how
approve
so-
it,
I
see
feel
what
like-
happens in the year, and then see if the public,
Yeah.
you know.
But we
Right.
don't know how
Complaints,
many
right?
people it's gonna be because the fire marshal
That's what
hasn't.
I would say.
So we need to talk to the fire, you need to talk to the fire marshal,
Right, it'll be
right?
fire marshal.
And then,
If she's not using speaker,
there's no-
yeah,
I can give you
there's
the-
no, yeah, it's not gonna be amplified.
No, it's not amplified.
I'm
It's
thinking-
that's why it's backyard.
Yeah, give you the year, see who complains throughout that year, and then advise it when you redo it, right?
And at time
Let
of,
her do
and
it,
time of
guys.
day.
Just let her do it.
4 to 6 p.m. late afternoon. That way it doesn't interfere with people's evening routines and so forth. So we put a lot of thought into time of day, day of the week, and so forth. Because not too many events are happening on Sunday
So when
afternoons.
people be coming from out of town, is that their cause or?
Whoever chooses to, when they buy the tickets, when I put it out there. I don't know yet.
Oh, would you publicize it online or something, is that?
First come, first serve on tickets.
Because it's limited.
Exactly.
It's gonna be limited.
okay, this is Jeremy Watkins' phone number. That is the fire marshal. That will be here on Tuesday.
Can you send that to me, please?
Okay.
Probably gonna want easier than what I was doing. So I'm gonna go ahead. Ask me.
We need to go with a decision on this. So we either wait again for the fire marshal. I know it crunches time, I know it crunches everybody's, I know you want to get this done, I know you are, because it's been on the table now 3 times. We need to know what the fire marshal says, so I was
I have
not
a question.
planning,
Why would the fire marshal's gonna tell me how for the insurance company?
just to do your homework.
No, I'm already doing that, but
I mean-
why does that decision have any bearing on whether I can
How
do this officially for the
I
Mosquito
don't know.
Festival?
I mean,
Cause then, I'm like,
Because you're asking
It
for a
is-
permit from the city.
Are we looking at 20 cars or are we looking at 50 cars? If he comes in and says you can have 150 people there, that's gonna be a lot more cars and there's issues with parking. That actually was one of the biggest things with the beauty shop up there was the parking.
Mhm.
Why they had to ask for a conditional use permit was that it's a parking issue because there's only 2 cars allowed in the driveway.
so are we gonna limit how many people come to Paisley during Mosquito Festival? Because I want to make this a fundraiser for Mosquito Festival. That's what this particular permit's for.
You are the one that said that you have to limit how many people you're allowed to have.
Absolutely.
So there's
But
also,
I think
you are
even if the
also
fire
doing a
marshal says there's
personal.
150 people allowed, we're not gonna bring 150 people
But
to that
Maybe
event.
not to this event. We're talking for a year.
And you
And I'm
can't-
not, you guys, I'm just being the devil's
You
advocate.
can't stop people showing up here for a public function, but
Right.
for a private property function,
That's
that's
right,
a whole
it is a
different
difference
deal.
between, I mean, there's a difference between the mosquito festival and the private. I don't know. I mean, you're coming to council and asking what you're supposed to do. It's just, the other thing is like, I don't think we can approve a conditional use permit by that first date. Because we have to still send letters out. We haven't done it yet. We have to send letters out and to approve an actual conditional use permit. We could probably allow you to have that one, but we don't have any real information about what you're doing. We don't know if there's gonna be 50 people, 100 people. We don't know what we're approving.
You could take a chance and do a one-time variance and see what happens, and nothing
Well,
happens.
that's what I'm saying, is that we could probably approve this first concert,
Yeah, see
but
how it
we
goes.
all are, like, we can come after personally, and I don't know about you guys, but
No, you can't.
I'm not going, yes,
Yeah.
you can.
Not on this.
City councilors can, and so can, school board members and all that can actually be gone after personally if they don't, there's a reason
So if
why
I
nobody wants to be on
reserve the
this council.
so if I reserve the community center to have an event here at the community center, then we wouldn't need to go
We
through any of
already
this.
know
Exactly,
Right.
pretty
But
much is what's
We already
being said
know the
right
fire
now.
marshal already has a label on how many people
Okay,
are
and so
allowed
you
here.
wouldn't care about the parking. So across the street,
Rotary has.
the parking would be the same. Whether I had it there or had it here, the parking's
But
gonna
are
be the
you gonna
same.
be using this parking for your private
It's
event?
just a formality,
It's
a
city
legal
parking.
issue is all.
Yeah, I know, but you're not doing a city event.
It's-
You're doing a private
I-
event.
For the Mosquito Festival.
But it's not the city.
But it's,
What you're carrying
What
all
they're
the
saying.
But I'm carrying the liability.
but asking for
but
city
I don't think
use.
that you're carrying liability on the
No,
vehicles
she's
parked
not.
here.
Well, do,
Only on
carries
her
the
own
liability when you rent it for a shower.
We do. They have to get approval from us to have, well, from the city employee to have a shower here. And then we cover them. We're covering them.
If somebody gets hit in the parking lot outside here at an event, their private insurance covers it, but it's.
Well,
Not
but that's a fault accident. So if the person that hit that person in the parking lot, their insurance is gonna pay for it. But if somebody trips coming into the building,
On the steps.
the city pays
They
for
can sue
it,
you.
the city insurance
Yeah.
pays for it. So you're having a private event, they're parking on city property. Your private event, if that something happens over here, am I wrong? I mean, I
No,
don't
you're
think I'm
right.
wrong.
You're right.
Okay, but
So when
what's-
John has
okay,
concerts
wait a
at
minute,
the
what's
bar,
the difference between
You trip and
visitors
Safeway,
coming in
Safeway's
to use the
responsible.
bathroom,
Trip
you
in the
know, and they
parking
lot,
trip
you're
and fall, but
We're
why can't
inviting,
she just be okay to have a year worth of
She
these
can't,
events
but
and see
all
where it goes?
all I'm getting at is that
Did
the
you know
city
that
will
you
be
have to
holding
have the
liability
permit,
for
which
people
costs
that are here.
$500?
But
People
But the
just
city
use
holds
it.
liability
Okay,
regardless,
okay,
because it's
okay.
technically, even though it's city parking, it's public parking, so if somebody parks here,
Cause that's what's
goes to the
causing
bar
most
and
of
gets
the
drunk, and
problems.
somebody
when
backs
people
in that car
use
here,
it
it
permit.
happened here regardless,
except
whether
that
they
their
were.
insurance will pay for it
Every
because
single time.
Right, so if
back
she's
in.
having a private
So that
event there,
500
but
has
they
to go,
park
plus you
here,
have to pay the
then
1
their
cent.
private insurance should cover it anyway, because technically it's not a city affiliated event. They just parked in public
Yeah.
parking.
But
I
it's
mean-
not really public parking. The parking in front of here is for
The city.
community center.
Right,
community
but-
center.
use.
But all I'm saying is,
How many people use it for?
you know, there's an empty seat
Yeah.
on council. Anybody's welcome to join.
Right?
Because I mean, I get it. There's a lot of there's responsibility when we
Yeah.
vote for stuff.
I respect the fact that you guys are just not saying, okay, yeah, let's do.
Think about
Because
that.
it's all gonna come back. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
This is
I
my
welcome
Music.
this community to have,
But
but I
that-
think we need to go through the steps.
That's why there's a council.
Mhm.
I mean, they're here to discuss things, and I mean, if you don't want to have to deal with city councils, then don't live in a city. And I feel bad, but I do feel like there's questions to be asked, and we can't just approve everything that comes through without question. And I think all of you guys have valid, you're all members of this city. And you guys have come up with more questions than we have. But I'm not saying no, I think everybody should be allowed to have events on their property and stuff, it's just whether or not you just do a blanket. I mean, I don't think we'd have any trouble getting it approved for this one, but I do think that we can't do a conditional use permit by this first date.
What would
Because I
happen
think
if
there's
you
not time
just
for
did it,
lawyers
if
to
you
go on.
didn't do a permit? What would happen?
I wouldn't do that,
Why?
because that's not how I've done things. I volunteered and worked in government for 30 years, and
So
every
then you
time, I
understand
would
the
never do
government's
that. And what we
way
know-
of having to go through the steps to
Yeah.
make sure Joe Blow down the road doesn't decide to have an open beer garden on a conditional use permit.
that's why I've been presenting paperwork for months for my activities. So this isn't new.
Right,
I
and we love
understand.
this, but
It's just, I feel, as a community member, there needs to be more information given before a vote can be.
So this first event, then anybody who comes, I would just have them park in my property, and that solves the problem. And I just won't worry about the city part of it. I'll just have a backyard concert and have people park inside my fence line. And that takes care of that.
Probably.
And
You're
I'll-
dealing with exits there? Yeah, I've just been
That's
involved
up
in
to
these.
the
Well, that's
Yeah,
okay.
and this is,
I
and
think,
with the
yeah,
fire
it's
marshal,
an issue.
then
I think the fire
he'll give me the
marshal
head count, and that
Right.
takes care of that.
and then this
And
guy's
how will
really
you pick the
thorough.
people that will come?
First come, first serve, pretty much.
It seems like the fact that you're selling tickets and collecting money, that kind of makes it different than like a backyard wedding. If it was that, you could do whatever you wanted. Maybe you could just say donations, I'm having this in my backyard and.
That conversation
and you
is
turn around and donate.
happening with the Mosquito Festival, because that's where we started
I
this.
mean, would
But
that work?
We hadn't decided on that yet, cause permits first.
But
Yeah.
you don't have a way to limit the number that way though.
Well, if you own the
Yeah,
property,
exactly. You'd have
say,
to really
I am only inviting this many people.
It's not a
You guys
public
wanna make
event,
it
it's a
I don't
private
know.
event.
I don't know, I'm just thinking. Thinking out loud, sorry.
Alright, what are we
I
doing?
think there's a few people in this room that need to be on city council, that's what I think.
There's 2 spots,
I'm
so.
thinking out.
Anyways, okay. We need to just keep yourself. So we need to know what the fire marshal says, and then I guess
And you'll be here Tuesday, right?
he's coming to the
Soon.
school on Tuesday. I have a really fun week next week. I get inspected multiple times.
The health inspector away.
Oh yeah, she's coming too, I heard that from yesterday. First thing Monday morning.
Okay, so
I don't know what to,
do we go private, see how it
Either-
works?
yeah.
See
She
what the
said-
neighbors and everything feel, and you guys just enjoy your party? And we go from there because everybody else in town does it.
I choose not
Or-
to do that, I choose to go through the process.
Well, then we just need to know exactly, how many people are gonna.
When's the next
What are we
meeting?
talking about?
Yeah, when's
The 17th.
17th?
Yeah.
I won't be there.
And I have to drive to Laredo, Texas round trip next week, so I won't be here next week.
It isn't next week, it's.
Okay, and I
Right, I just
would
have to
like
get
to
everything
point
ready.
out that you gave us this paperwork about 15 minutes before the meeting on the 3rd last month.
Yeah, so,
So it was not addressed then, and then we didn't have the meeting thereafter, so it wasn't,
Right.
they've had it forever.
right,
Okay.
We didn't.
So this is an idea, what about having it in the community center the first time to see how it goes? And then if everybody's super happy, thinking, wow, this would work out great on Chrissy's property, it would kind of be a trial run.
I'm gonna do the backyard on the property and
So
just
you
have a
don't
party on the
wanna-
property. Cause the whole point was just to have a
Okay.
small backyard event, that's, instead of a large production, something very small and
It could be
intimate
small
and
here.
outside and so
I mean,
forth.
I'm just thinking it would be an opportunity to do it without having to do all your paperwork ahead. And I think the community would then see that this would be a great thing and more people would be behind you doing it on your own property.
What's the difference with us doing our community dance Friday night? People come in and they, park and they come in, they dance, and we have the outdoor music and everything. We didn't get complained about. What's the difference if she does hers on the private,
Across the street.
across the
Because it's
street?
private. That's the whole difference.
She's not
Still
doing
just
a
not
city.
getting it.
She's
I mean, I'm not throwing out common sense here,
No,
but
And it's,
if you guys think about it, a city affiliated dance is put out by the city, so everybody knows about it.
Right.
If she wouldn't have brought it up,
Right.
would anybody know about it?
unless
Until it
they make a
happens.
bunch of noise and somebody.
Yeah, not until after the fact, right? So I'm not saying I'm for or against, because I'm the mediator here to figure out what's going on and what's happening. But when you actually think about it, and those of us that have lived here our respectfully entire lives, how many times have we had parties and everything in people's backyards that you don't
But
even know
not-
about
but
till
not
after?
charging parties. There's a
Okay,
difference
we
between a
understand. That's what I'm trying to say.
party. Yes,
What I'm trying to say.
okay, sorry.
Is she's trying to do it legal like. We've
She
never done it
basically
legal
has a
like, we just
business,
do it and
but
throw
she's
barbecues in our backyards. We crank our music up, we have a good time.
well, if it's.
Usually,
if it's
people
a-
stop by and say hi.
If it's donations, then it isn't exactly charging.
No, but you're
that's
not, I guess if you're asking for a conditional use permit for a one-time event, that's fine. She's asking for a blanket permit, and I'm not against it, I'm just saying,
But permits are
maybe a
only a year at
wedding.
a time.
huh?
Permits are only for a year at a time.
I know, but in that year, shoot, we could have 6 weddings. You know, seriously.
Well, and that's a
Just
different,
as my
that's
whole
a,
family,
that's
that's
a different,
different.
that's a different permit request that I have.
Well,
This is only for,
Well,
for this concert.
This is only concert.
This is only for this
For
concert.
for basic, but you didn't request a one-time.
I
mean, it's
talking about a series.
What do you tell me what
serious.
is
Over the course
Because
of
I'm about
Over
to
it.
use my gavel.
Okay, okay.
I think, alright,
Thanks, Tony.
we have got a lot on our agenda.
Yeah, and I
And
actually have to go
we've
back because
spent
I've got a huge boiler
Way too
project.
much time on this. So, she could go ahead and have her thing without our permission and see how it goes. And as far as the other ones, let's do it, address it another time. Cause if we're gonna take this much time addressing the other 3,
Well, two of them can be done rather quickly. The third one will wait till after fire marshal as well. But the Chamber of Commerce is pretty much what it is.
So let's squash the Chamber of Commerce right now. The Lake County Sheriff's Department looked at making that a substation for officers back and forth, but because of the health codes and violations currently depicted through that jail cell was $31,000 to fix.
Right, and
So
that request has been pulled, and my request, and I was in here talking to Missy about it, was just to place it right here in the entryway and have the brochures and everything be on the rack as you walk in the front door.
I said no use of jail, the old jail.
No,
Okay.
no use of jail.
That one's done.
No use of jail, just to establish it
So there's
and
just a rack out here
be
with
able
the
to use.
brochures.
And it was suggested to use one of the rooms, but we don't need, I don't need space for a Chamber of Commerce. We've used much smaller areas, but to officially get it established so I can get the ball rolling, collect the information, and work with the Chamber of Commerce in Lakeview.
Too easy.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure you weren't spending $31,000 when the sheriff do that.
I want to interrupt here for a second. I have a bunch of questions for Ruth, and if she has to get back to the school,
Well, I got a couple of them.
we could have a conversation, if that's okay.
So are you saying you're tabling this one till fire marshal?
Yes.
Okay.
That's kinda
So-
So, yeah, so
Should
that
we just
one,
cover the electric car?
let's do the charging of the car.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
I'm for it.
Alright. All
I
those in
make a
favor?
motion.
I move that we accept the
Okay.
car charging.
I'll second.
So did you guys all read that one? She's wanting to offer an electric car charging station and everything.
It's on her
For
But it
her
had to be-
property, her
She has
power.
to-
But it would be on the, it would be
Yes,
on the easement.
It will be
with
on the
gravel.
easement, so
Where they-
So the
actually,
public can use it.
if you look at the new Oregon code, I left it in my car.
I would have it.
Yeah.
So the-
All cities in Oregon by 2023 are supposed to have up to 4 electric car charging stations.
And it's being done by a licensed.
So, yeah. So,
Who has to follow.
welcome to something else the city has to come up with by 2023.
I'll have one of them for you.
So that one's done.
Okay, proposed art studio.
That's gonna be tabled with the fire marshal stuff, because it's the same, pretty much the
Yeah,
same
that's
thing.
what she said.
Because it'd be your Tuesday, that actually simplifies things.
Yeah, you need to call him
I will.
because he is
Yes.
a buy the book,
I will.
fantastic.
Alright, next, that next one is tabled for 12 years from now. So, I'll just say it real quick, anybody wanted to know? I was gonna open a business in my house, no signs, no parking, no people allowed. Custom wood and epoxy and hydro dipping, nope, I'm good.
Okay, so that's the table, or no, not table,
I
thrown
will
away.
move it to Jackson County.
Okay, yeah, I just need to.
Alright, Verizon.
You guys have the paperwork in your packets.
So they just want to continue what they've got now.
Yeah, they just wanna continue, they have to get new types of permits for it, that's what that LUC is for.
So not adding anything or.
Not adding anything else, generators already up there, it has been for quite a while.
Okay.
I read.
So I move that we approve it.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, no issue with that.
Bruce?
I actually have questions for all of you, but if Ruth is on a timeline,
Yeah, I just- Yeah, oh, well, I'm just waiting for,
I'll break
Yeah.
my
make sure we do.
sequence here and talk to Ruth first. And first I wanna start off by saying it's, for anybody to be on the city council. I mean, whether you're voted on, appointed, or however you get on, I mean, you're basically volunteering. And I've been in and out of the city council and the Mosquito Festival since the early 70s, so I know what it's like. There's not enough money, there's not enough volunteers, and everybody's got a bitch. Which sadly I'm going to do as well. But I get it, and on one hand I say good for you for being here. But that doesn't relieve you from doing the right things. And I think you are all making huge mistakes here, and I'm tired of it. So I'm gonna start with Ruth. Reliable people have told me that you have spied on me and reported my activities, yeah. You wanna call those,
Reported your activities to who or what?
you know who, you wanna do that?
No, I don't.
You have to. Are you gonna call other people liars? Are you gonna perjure yourself?
Well, what am I being accused of?
Spying on me, violating my civil
How am I
liberties.
spying on you?
You abuse your job down at the school and you abuse the equipment there. and you report on my activities when I move
I
through town.
use the equipment for what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about when I walk through the schoolyard to go visit somebody.
You do get caught on surveillance cameras.
Right.
Anybody that walks through, it's posted that
It
you're
doesn't
on
matter.
surveillance.
Wherever I go, I'm gonna be on
But
surveillance.
who do I report what to?
You know who.
No, I do not. I honestly don't.
You-
Who have I reported anything to? I haven't reported anything on you to the sheriff's department or to the superintendent.
I know you haven't.
Those are my two people those are the only people that get
That
footage
should
off the
be,
cameras.
but you also report on me to friends and family. I know you do. They know you do.
What?
Who are, well, you know what?
You know,
If you don't have anything specific, I'm not.
And this is really not the venue for
No.
this.
It is because as a city council member, you can't do that.
I'm not your supervisor. I have nothing to do.
As a city council member, you can't do that to anybody.
I am not doing, you have not told me what I'm doing.
Spying on me and reporting my activities.
Bruce, what am I spying on you doing?
You know what it is. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy into you. The person who told me is very reliable and knows about it.
Cool. I know a lot of reliable people, but
Well, you have
none of
that.
them I report to.
It's
Except for my boss.
gossip. You gossip about me. That's harassment. You do
Okay.
that.
Okay, you can say that. Go ahead. Continue.
Well, I just think that a person who commits crimes like that, I wonder if they should be on the city council.
Crimes?
It is a
Okay.
crime. Do you don't think it's a crime to spy on somebody and violate their civil liberties and violate their right to privacy?
Bruce, I do have a way for you to handle this, because on city council, if you call the Salem office,
I have,
they will give you the appropriate way to file paperwork against us.
I have
'cause-
done it, and here's all my paperwork, both with the state of Salem and the school board down there.
Because the state will notify us and deal with us based on one of our community members having an issue with us directly, and it's very effective.
I
And
have
there's an
already
appropriate
talked
trail,
to them.
that's how it works.
I've
The
got all
school
the
board?
paperwork here.
You went
Yeah,
to the school board?
state school board.
Oh.
They're interested in what you guys do.
Okay.
But I know I haven't been contacted by Salem, so I'm not
I
sure.
haven't made an official report, and I told Salem I'm gonna do an end run, and they were agreed with me, and they're required to keep all my correspondence with them private, even though I have a folder here, and my phone calls private, just as they would if you guys wanted to talk to them.
Well, I know as a council member, I would prefer things to be above board and official, so if you have an issue with me or anybody else on council,
Yeah.
by all means, please go through the steps through the state. We welcome that, that's okay.
I don't have to. I've already talked to them.
Cool.
But we don't
I
understand
haven't
what,
been notified that
You're not.
we're gonna stop this right here.
Yeah.
No, we're not.
This,
They're not.
okay, Bruce, listen to me. If I have done something that has violated your civil liberties and you have proof of it or even some more information, I would suggest you put it in writing. You can submit it to him, you can submit it to the state, the county, whoever you want.
It just
But
goes to
here's the
Salem.
thing,
That's it.
You're,
but that's our boss, we're okay with that.
okay, that's fine. That's what I'm talking about, the responsibility of being on city council. But what you're actually talking about, you're saying that I did something in my personal job at the school, not as a city council member. So you can take it to my supervisor.
It doesn't matter if you do it as a city council member. What you guys don't
I am-
understand, as a city council member or an
I
employee
do
of the
understand
city,
that.
if you go somewhere and break the law, you do it as a council
Okay.
member.
All right, write
That's
the
the
letter,
truth.
make the phone call, they can contact me. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So go for it.
And all
Bring
right.
it, but I'm not gonna sit here and listen to a bunch of blanket accusations that,
Well, you know they're true.
has he told
I
me
know
that?
you can
It's
take
true?
this thing.
Okay,
Well, I'll call.
what's the
I'll-
next thing?
I'll ask a couple of the people if they mind me revealing who they are. I wanna know what happened with the, that's not appreciated, those kind of snickers, I mean, grow up. I wanna know what happened with the community breeze. I'm sorry I'm behind on those things.
I have no idea.
Well, you guys sat here and demanded a retraction from the community breeze.
What?
What,
When,
What was this?
What was the?
It was about Gloria and their problem, their water leak. And
Oh,
Travis had a
yes.
fit over it. And you guys all vote on it. You-
I don't even read it.
I do remember there was something
I
about,
remember it being talked about, yeah.
It was
This was-
voted on, it's in the minutes, you guys voted
Right,
on it,
okay.
you
So what-
demanded a retraction. I don't know, tell me.
It was a mistake.
It was a
something,
mistake.
there was a mistake in their,
Like what?
their article. And I can't remember what it was, but we didn't like cause a stir with them.
You demanded a retraction.
We asked them for,
You demanded a
correction.
retraction. No, it's right in the minutes. You demanded a retraction.
okay.
What? I just heard my name used
I
in
know.
vain.
Well, they didn't-
You guys had a water leak by your house. This was a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Was it in my article?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think,
an
I think it was something in your article, but it was incorrect information that we just asked for a correction.
But it was my
You demanded a
mistake.
retraction.
Did they retract it?
You
Because I never
guys,
looked.
as usual, you guys, well, we'll take care of it, but nothing ever happens.
Okay.
What would you like us to address about this at this point?
I would like Travis to apologize to the community breeze. It was good enough for him, see, he demands a retraction because he's insulted.
But you said we never
Well,
did anything.
Let's table that until
It
Travis
doesn't
is
have to
here.
be done, can't you do the right thing?
Bruce, let's.
Travis was a former city council member, he resigned 2 meetings ago.
And I,
He's also-
what was I, what would I
He's the water
supposed to have
super, he's
written?
the water master here.
It was as the water master and the information,
I believe the information in
It was
the
in
article
his-
was an improper number.
Right, that's all it could have been. She
It was,
reported.
it was the amount of gallons that was produced by the leak that when we went through and looked at the meter and
Oh, the bill we got for $199,000 or something.
yes,
Okay.
Oh,
that
God.
big number.
But
Yeah.
I thought, well, I don't know what you're
that's
talking
in
about.
Travis's realm. He's the city's water
Absolutely, and he
superintendent. So
demanded a retraction.
did we demand did it
You
go
got,
through?
it's in the minutes, you, I.
It never
should've-
went
Well, then
through.
why do we have to
It
apologize?
did go
to him?
through, it's in the minutes.
It's in the minutes, but it never went to the breeze to be retracted
Then
to say who was at fault.
Just send
It's
them a
in,
copy of the
it's made
bill you
public.
sent me.
The
It
reason,
has the amount.
the reason Travis was upset
Yeah.
is because it
Come
was
on.
public, right? If you, two people standing on the corner
Okay.
having
He
a
didn't
conversation,
even have the job
But
then,
what does
did
this
he?
have to do?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
barely.
because he owes some apologies here.
Well, Travis isn't here to have the conversation,
Yeah,
so I think
so
we need to
I
set it
think-
aside
So
till
he
he's
can't
present.
defend himself.
He doesn't
for
have
any
to
of this
defend, you
stuff.
guys
we
know he
need
did
to-
it.
and if Travis
Well,
wants
we
an
just admitted we
apology,
knew.
he can come and ask for it himself.
So, I mean, what would you like me to, okay, here, let's put it this way. Say it's, I'm mayor for the next hour. What would you like me to do?
I'd like to have a motion that Travis apologizes for falsely accusing somebody that wasn't worth following up on. I mean, those things matter.
That's
We
not
didn't
our purview as a
falsely
city
accuse
council.
Anybody.
You approved the retraction.
We cannot force anybody to do
The
anything.
retraction of false
Missy, do you
information.
have access?
Well, It was false
It was
So
incorrect
I'm the one that
information.
caused the problem.
no.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was- All it was the article was brought forward to us and everything about the amount of water that the city supposedly let loose on your property
Mhm,
and the extreme bill that you had gotten.
mhm.
Now, we all questioned it too, trying to figure out what was going on
Of
with it.
course, everybody was.
And
Yeah.
so Travis came back and said that the number of gallons that was put in there and stuff was over exaggerated. So
It's on the bill.
I understand that. I understand that. All he wanted was a retraction of the statement to the proper number and everything that was put there.
So why didn't you guys do it?
It was there.
Well, I didn't know I had to hold somebody's hand to go down to the to the county breeze or whatever and do it.
Well, you demanded a retraction.
I didn't demand nothing, and neither did anybody here.
Did. You voted on it and approved it,
We-
and it's in the minutes.
But the
I
retraction
guarantee
would
you.
be
But
a letter written.
Yeah, the retraction would be a letter written.
Or
You
correct.
demanded one.
Okay, we're moving on.
What's the next thing you have on your
There's
list
no
to
more.
address, Bruce?
I sat here in the January meeting, and most of these involved Travis. He called.
So we cannot talk about Travis right
Yes,
now.
we can.
No,
You were here.
here's
He's
the
not
deal.
here.
Here's the deal.
You were here.
No, listen,
We
this
can't
is how
talk
it works.
about him without
Travis
him
is a
being
city employee. Anything that we discuss about Travis needs to be done with him. He needs to
He has to be present.
here, and it needs to be done in executive session, not in public session.
With him
It's to
present.
discuss with him present. So you have an issue with Travis. This is the way it works across the board. You can either submit it in writing, or we can set it up in executive session for the next meeting, and he'll have the right to be here to defend himself against.
there. Do I need to be there
You guys-
to defend myself?
So, and then
I don't
that will give you
understand.
time to come up with you know, we can come up with the minutes and we can come up with that stuff, but you need
Find
to,
the
if you
bill.
have a complaint against a city employee,
There's
Then-
the steps.
there's steps to take.
And
And
it's-
it needs to be done in executive session. It
And in
needs to
writing.
stop now.
Anything to do with employees has to be done in
Yes.
executive session.
We can't, we're not
Only if
even,
they agree
this,
to it.
no, this is
No.
a public,
Absolutely. You cannot,
and you're not on the agenda even for doing this.
Well,
You
Well,
cannot, no,
hey,
It says right here, public meeting
He-
law
so you
authorizes governing bodies to meet in executive session in certain limited
you
situations.
cannot, you cannot sit here and cast stones at somebody that's not here doing,
well, I didn't
especially
plan
a
on
city
not being
employee.
here.
So,
Is there anything else
move on
you'd like
to
to
something
address?
that does not address the city employee.
Well, I'd like you guys to issue an apology to Lenora James for that anonymous letter. That was such disgraceful actions, you guys. You sat here and accused her of writing an anonymous letter.
What?
Huh?
Huh?
No, I will say, because who knows who wrote that letter?
Exactly.
We received that letter inside the water box.
Then why did you accuse her of doing it?
Why would we accuse her?
Exactly. Why did you?
We didn't.
Well, now, wait a minute. Now I want someone to explain.
I
This was a long,
It-
this
This
is,
was a long time ago.
Was
I
typed by me.
Because I don't want this stuff to
Wait, no,
slip by.
we're not on.
I
No,
was
we're
at
not
the
even on
meeting.
it.
I was at the meeting.
I have no
Okay.
idea now.
You guys accused her of doing that.
we did not,
Yes, you did.
I
In
know
what way
minutes
did we
too, where
accuse
we're accusing
So we know
community
she did
members
it.
of,
That was
She wrote it.
so that's a personal
At
opinion.
that meeting, we decided to
Your
keep
council
everything
member is
anonymous.
making that.
Yes.
We decided to
If
continue
they
to
weren't willing
accept.
to put their name on it, it didn't hold muster.
Nope.
Yeah, that's what we
We
decided.
chucked the letter.
Because
You
anonymous
didn't chuck
letters,
the letter, you created policy. You
Okay.
made a motion and created policy
On what?
on the stupid letter.
About what? We didn't create any policy. That letter was literally thrown out because nobody had the guts to sign it.
Well, why did you guys accuse her of doing that?
I believe that at the time, somebody on council did believe that she was the one that had wrote the letter, but there was no proof. It was not signed. It was thrown out. It had to be addressed because it was a letter to city council. It was addressed in a public meeting, but it was thrown out. No policy was made based on that letter.
Was that letter about?
You
the
made a
water?
motion about anonymous letters,
Okay.
and the policy created was, when we get an anonymous letter, mayor's eyes only, and then executive session. And I remember that clearly.
well, that seems
Yeah.
like a
Well, but
logical.
That's what we did, but that's what we
We
did.
had to decide what to do with that
So it's a
specific letter. It's
policy
only
you
have one-
created
Okay.
about, isn't it?
Is it written in our policies?
we're not talking
It
about.
We
seems,
did put it in.
it seems like a
Okay, so it's
legitimate
in-
policy to me,
Because
because
anybody could drop anything and say anything about
I
any
don't
community
care
member
about the
and then it
reason.
goes
You
to the
guys
mayor.
said-
Unless it's
call me a
signed, we're
liar.
not gonna pay,
When I
okay.
tell you created policy and you say, no,
You're
you
bringing
didn't.
up stuff from 2 years ago that we didn't, like, okay, so our
I'm
policy
sorry,
is,
I
if you
apologize for doing
don't
that,
sign
but I
your
want-
But
letter,
I don't recall
We're
her in
not-
any of the documentation.
Doesn't
or
matter the
discussion.
reason, the reason why the letter's
Okay.
anonymous, but you guys are so alarmed over it. We have to make a motion, we have to vote on it.
so that we don't waste time.
Oh my God.
What else would you like us to address?
So-
Rose?
Well, I want an apology to go to Lenora.
We don't know that that letter was hers and we didn't
Then
make
you
any motion that it
apologize
was
for
her letter.
falsely accusing her.
Because we discussed the letter in a public meeting that she had every right to be here for.
So somebody else could have said something.
That's ridiculous.
The only
No,
time, the only
It
time
was a
Lenora's
public
name has been
meeting.
brought up
The letter was
is,
discussed in the public meeting. She had every right to be here if she did submit the letter.
she
didn't,
had
or
submitted
she
letters
did. We
that
don't
she
know.
has signed
We
for
can't-
requests,
What
but
if
that was
she
it.
did? Did she submit the letter? Do you know for sure she
Do
didn't?
you know for sure?
No, that's why we didn't do anything with the letter.
But you didn't keep your mouth shut. You went on and on for over 10 minutes. Well, I know she did it. She had to have done it.
Okay, we need to move on because I.
Well, wait a minute.
Work.
Where's your moral compass at? I don't
I'm not
understand.
even gonna answer.
Because she's got something important to talk about.
We need to move on.
we've got several more items on our agenda, we can't be here all day.
Well, that's convenient.
So you can write a letter again. We can discuss this in executive session.
Anything you submit in
You
writing to the
have
city will be
obviously a
addressed.
ton of complaints. You can discuss those in open session, but get on the agenda for a certain amount of time. Because it sounds like this, you have a next thing that you have.
Because if there's something that happened previously in the minutes or the city records, then we'll need time to pull it up
Well, I
and
want
present it.
Travis to present a bunch of apologies too.
You can present it.
Travis to present a bunch of apologies too.
You can write down a
You
request.
can ask him for
but-
that in executive session for the things that you're accusing him of,
And so,
and me.
if it's proven that he did those things, what happens? Hypothetically.
He's a city employee. We would write the apology. Just like the city, as a city employee, if you go out and you spray mosquitoes and you do something illegal, it comes back on the city, it doesn't come back on you. You don't hold any insurance yourself. So Travis is covered by the city. So the city would issue an apology if there was an apology to be issued. But it's not, Travis was acting as a city employee when he did those things. And they may or he may not or may not be correct. So if there's apologies that have to be issued, then we can discuss it, and then the city issues the apology, not Travis personally. And you cannot come in here and attack a city employee. We cannot listen to this in public session.
You guys can attack
Executive session.
residents of the town.
Executive session. So,
How's
do you
that
have a
possible?
next thing on your agenda?
No.
Okay. Then, Craig?
So please put what you'd like us to discuss in writing, give it to Missy, and then it will be addressed. We don't discount anything that you're saying, but we have to go through proper procedure.
You
As meetings
absolutely
would take.
are. You're laughing, you're
days.
smirking, you're disrespectful, as you guys usually are,
Very business.
right?
Bruce, please take the time to write it out, because it'll be addressed if you take the time to
Please
write
be
it out.
respectful. Right? Is that a reasonable request of you?
Absolutely.
I have one more thing. I'd like to see your fences put on the right property line.
The fences are on the existing property line that's been there since before we lived there. It's the same fence line.
That doesn't make them on the right property line. When your fences turn across the back, that's not where they belong.
Then talk to the county. The county handles it. We just found out that none of our property lines, your property line isn't correct. None of those
Ours
property
isn't.
lines on the highway are correct. Did you
But
know
I
that?
don't have a, but
I
putting
just found
fence
that
up.
out.
I just
No,
replaced
there's
the
not a
fence.
property line in this city.
All I
that's
did was
correct.
improve the fence that was there before. I didn't
But you
make a
have to
new
be
line.
specific.
I put the fence up exactly where it was when I took down the broken one, because it was a
Well, whose
hazard because animals
responsibility
got
was
caught.
that? I mean, if I'm gonna redo a fence or lay out a place for a lot, I have to have it surveyed. I have to make sure I'm in the right place.
I replaced the existing fence. Because that's where the fire department parks, and I replaced the existing fence.
And so if it's wrong, what are you gonna do?
Well, then the city will have more gravel.
I mean, I don't understand that. You two sit here several months ago, you two, and you're going, we have to do everything perfectly. We can't make any mistakes. We have to do everything, set a good example. Then you immediately put your heads together and you start bragging about your illegal fence. Well, I know it does this and that, but I'm not gonna change it. I heard you do that.
I don't even know where this is coming from, Bruce, because all I've done is put up a fence exactly where the previous fence was for all the years the property's been there. And I have the
You said-
overview, it's the same fence.
You put up your new fence and you're not gonna change it.
I don't know when that conversation ever happened at city
Well, I
council.
was sitting right. Huh?
Were you asking me?
No.
Oh, sorry.
It
He's
was,
saying my fence was a topic of conversation at city council.
it absolutely was.
I honestly don't remember that.
Well, we were bragging about it.
I don't recall ever having time on the agenda for something like that, but please, if you want me to address something, put it in writing and I absolutely will.
So put it in writing, give it to Missy, she can look up the minutes and refer to them and we can address it in executive council, but this isn't really the
You
forum
did too
for
bring
it.
it up.
The fence
You did
at city
too.
council, I wasn't on city council when that fence was built.
Well, let's stop arguing about it, just
Yeah.
write your complaints, give them to
The
Missy,
shed.
Missy will look up the minutes that we can refer
The
to.
one
Yeah.
shed.
We can all.
And we
I
can
was
have an
sitting right here.
executive,
Table was
so,
turned, you two are sitting over there.
so let's move on to the next item.
Good job, Tony.
We've got several items on our agenda.
Vector control is next.
Vector control.
What are we gonna do?
I already know they're out, so it's too late to larvicide or anything like that.
What are we
So-
talking about?
Mosquito
Mosquitoes.
control.
Oh,
It's too late for what? I couldn't hear that.
Start the larvicide and stuff.
Larva says.
Oh, larvicide.
I thought you guys said no more larvicide.
You can't larvicide.
I'm just saying, we're way past.
I mean,
Well,
personal
why are you
people
talking
can,
about
you
this
can't
spray?
though.
Why
There's
are
nowhere
you-
you can larvicide at.
Yeah, why are you even talking about it?
I don't-
Because it's just
you
something that's there right now.
Just, you meant
The
private.
thing is everybody's already complaining the mosquitoes are out and why we are not spraying yet. I hear it all the time.
Well,
So that's why it's being brought up right now. When do we want to start spraying?
no, I would think soon. Travis has gotta get the sprayer back in the pickup. He's gotta fix the tire, take care of the battery, all the things that I normally do, that for some reason, he wanted to take over. He's on the clock, I'm not. He needs to get, that was on my thing, he needs to get that taken care of.
Do we need to talk to Travis before we can make a decision on this topic?
Yes.
Okay, so we table that one, move on to, this is the Chamber of Commerce on the agenda, the one that was on my request.
Yes. So
And
no,
that would be-
no, the one you and I talked about. When you just.
Utilizing the
wasn't about-
lobby, that's what
Yeah.
this one is? Okay. And the Chamber of Commerce on this kind of goes hand in hand with my request, which was to be able to utilize the lobby here in the community center where the closet is. And I would put in shelves at my cost before Cheryl painted and make it all nice and presentable to be able to put brochures and information.
Okay.
But wanted to get council's input and approval to be able to utilize that lobby area for that.
I have a question, is that gonna be manned, like,
No.
somebody be there?
It'll
just
only be
have
open
brochures?
when Nancy's
Yeah.
here.
I'll be here, so.
So it'll just be pamphlets available.
Yeah.
Is that,
Pamphlets information, and I'll have a contact phone number, they can reach me if they have questions. I'm not going to add to Missy's plate.
so I
This will be
move,
my plate.
I move we approve it.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, do we have to say aye?
I can't say
I
that.
don't know.
Okay, did everybody get to read that 15-page contract with Lake County? I think I made it to.
That's what
There are
that's
a
what she
few
emailed.
little things in there, she says there, we talked about buying a service truck, we didn't talk about that, so we're gonna have, there's a few changes that need to be made.
This is correspondence.
That's for the attorney?
No,
No.
that's for the 500,000
Thousand
from the
Oh.
and everything.
For the
The water
infrastructure, for the infrastructure,
Yeah.
that, from when we had the meeting.
So,
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
I look, is that the exact one we signed, or is that?
That would be the one that we signed, but she told us to review it, asked us to review it and see if there were
So,
any funds in it,
We're
so-
basically accepting the grant for 500,000. And we have until December of 2024 to spend it.
Yes.
If we don't spend it, it goes back.
Yes.
Right,
we have to
okay.
pay it back.
Okay, and it falls under,
And
it's
there's,
the water
it falls under
infrastructure,
water infrastructure.
the plan from Anderson Engineering.
Yes.
Lori.
The
Okay.
question I have, I was at the meeting where Gerald Anderson did the presentation about the whole plan for
Yeah.
replacing the water system. Well, then I saw in the paper that Christmas Valley got federal funds, like 1.6 million. Lakeview got a large amount. Are we pursuing that, or
So they,
That's
we're
our-
not gonna
that's our
just
amount.
go borrow
Yeah.
money?
so
and
part of what Northlake got was also,
they
their
got
share
money
of
from the
this.
county also,
but then they
plus
got, yes,
federal.
right. And so that's through the senators and.
Yeah, Ron
And
White
we
did.
have put in for that.
It won't be,
Okay, I
a-
just wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
we're not
But-
ignoring.
Do we
But
have to do that?
I need,
Do we have to do the income survey to qualify for it?
so, but here's the thing, that was a business organ loan.
That was the
That was
business
business.
loan.
So, so guys, at that meeting with Daryl Anderson, we had there was a correction that needed to be made on that paper.
Oh, I didn't
Because,
get that.
so the paper that he handed out at that meeting, it said the water bills would go up such and such of amount based on how many connections we had. He has
Yes.
the number of connections incorrect.
Oh,
So would that
He
change
had
it
the
to?
number, he had the population written in there.
oh,
So,
rather than the
that
houses.
payment, that water rate would have been a lot higher going up than, so we have not, we are not doing anything
So you
with that
haven't made a
business.
commitment.
Yeah,
to
the
anything,
500,000, yeah, we have not made a commitment to any loan, I mean, it's gonna take.
Right.
I mean, I don't think any of us wanna sign us up for that with this, with I mean, I don't think Paisley can afford it with.
Right.
But if we don't have
The
water,
water
we gotta
plant.
figure out something.
Well, when
the
I
water
saw,
plant.
they were getting substantial amounts of money
Yes, I know.
in Lakeview and Christmas
So
Valley.
it is being, it's just a
So-
slower process. for
Yeah, cause then
Paisley.
I also read in the paper somewhere that, Oregon has committed to a lot of money
Yeah.
for rural water systems.
Yeah.
Because it's not just us, it's a lot of places.
We just have to meet all the requirements, something that was discussed with Anderson when they talked about the increase, because there's a lot of fixed income, a lot of below property level, but we have to have documentation of everything. So we as a city can't do our own survey of city residents, what their income is. We have to do it in conjunction with, say, Portland State's. Portland State, we have to do it with somebody.
I heard him say that.
And then find out what it is, and then we will qualify for assistance based on those findings, but everything has to be official and documented. So we have two jobs right now. Get this water figured out, get our infrastructure, get the focus going, get everything replaced, get our water flow, and also figure out how to help the residents be able to pay these higher rates.
Well, and there was one of the county commissioners that assisted with the federal funding. So I was thinking somebody needs to contact him.
Well, I think
It was in
all,
the paper.
was it James and Mark?
I
or
thought
Mark?
it was Mark
Mark
Albertson, but I have to
Albertson.
look.
I think you're right, it's
Actually,
Albertson that was doing it. I don't think Barry was.
It wasn't
I
Barry.
think it was Mark.
It was Mark.
I think.
I have articles here if anybody wants to read them. I saved them thinking, boy, we need to look into this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
we applied for that
Okay.
congressional direct spending is what it's called.
Okay.
For the entire project, and if we don't get it, that entire amount, then I'll come back on the table as to what we can
But
and
we need to
cannot
come
do.
up with a plan for that 500,000 without, you know, even if we don't get another loan, we need to prioritize and figure out what are the,
Something to do with the 500,000,
Yes.
even if you don't do the.
if we don't do the
project.
entire thing, we need to improve, whether it's, you know, drilling a new well or also.
Like the first stage.
Yeah, there's like a million things, but yeah. But this contract is just that we accept the 500,000
Okay.
and we have till December of 2024 to, I don't know if you have to spend it or if you have to have
You
it.
have my, no, I don't think it's to spend it, I think it's just to have your
Plan. Yeah.
contracts out
To
and your plan,
completely
yeah.
know
So what do
exactly.
we need to, what's our action that we need to take on this?
I would recommend, let me take it back to Melanie, you guys, if you have any other corrections that you see in it,
Okay.
let me know. Because there are a few things in there that don't belong to us.
Yeah.
Like, we're not buying a service truck, I don't know where that came from.
Okay.
I'm guessing that they used a,
A blank
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
because I think that,
I'm only on
They
page
didn't
six,
It come
so
from
I'm
there,
still
so
reading.
yeah.
Okay.
Make sure you read through it really well.
Okay.
And
and when do they need it by?
she told me it's not a big rush, so
Okay.
yeah, we can review it next meeting. If you guys have any other corrections, we'll go from there.
And the ICSC building permit.
Mhm.
That's in that.
I thought we approved that last.
Yeah. Didn't we?
No, this is
The
a different,
shed. Oh,
this is the new shed.
The one that Jen was talking about
Yes.
for
For
the
the food
share.
share.
Excellent.
Future.
So she did get that to council, that's good.
Yeah, the drawing is in the new pictures that I gave you, it's in front of the hazard complaint.
Yep.
There you go, right there.
Someone at my door this morning.
Next, we were talking about type of structures with her based on year-round temperature and the food
So what is it that they're asking?
to add a shed for food share.
Yeah,
So it's 10 by 16, and is it pre-built? I can't remember.
it's a pre-built shed,
Yeah,
yes.
pre-built shed. And then their placement, we talked about setbacks,
Mm-hmm, the setbacks are listed on there.
and
I
they're
think
just
it's
using it as
59,
storage,
29,
and they're going to have it locked.
Right, they're
Yes.
gonna have the refrigeration units in it.
So they're gonna have some sort of heating.
Yeah, she was talking about Zach about those things, and they decided not to go with the
I guess,
the prefab the, what do you call it, the back of the truck structures? They take them to pot, what do you call those? The metal,
Connex box.
right, and Zach dissuaded her from that because it's so difficult to have temperature control in those.
Yeah.
So they're talking
My
about
freezers in my
temperature
garage.
controls.
Cargo trailers, okay.
Yeah,
So
we're
now
doing
the
this
pre-
in our garage.
Yeah, I don't know how big a deal it is. Maybe they don't last as long. I don't know.
Well, location looks good,
Well,
so
far
we just
ours
need,
last.
So,
as long as they meet the setbacks, that's all you
one
need
thing
from
I
us.
was wondering, oh, the ditch, okay, that's where it says.
Well, I make a motion, as long as they meet all the city setback requirements, that we approve this for them.
I second.
All those in favor?
Wow, that's easy.
Outstanding.
Well, I thought.
That'll make them happy.
I guess we didn't have the drawing.
Parks and grants?
Sorry.
Percy, that's you.
Parks and grants, we can actually table that due to time. Just wanted to talk more about, a few things that Craig had brought up in the past about availability of funds and establishing city land for parks and so forth, but we can table it for another meeting.
Code enforcement,
Is that this?
You guys have a
is that the one from Clark?
yeah.
Okay.
So Missy,
You guys need to ask to be bumped at the beginning of the.
Could we have the top spot?
so I have a question for you, Missy, about concerning Clark's legitimate concerns here. I think when I was talking to you about it the other morning, you said that the county's new nuisance enforcement person, if the city gives them permission to go ahead and do it, they can enforce something within our city. Is that what I heard you say?
That's my understanding, and I think that's how we worded it
We
in
have
the
to invite
ordinance,
him
just to
in.
make sure. And I do have a call to him, but he is up north, so
But, and
he's
so I
supposed to call me back.
I would just like to say that, I read your concerns and I, validate them. And
Health concerns are
we're
priority.
just trying to find a way to enforce it.
Yeah.
This was, I know
That's-
Clark and I had a conversation, and I encouraged him to put it in writing.
Right,
And
and you did a
his-
good job of it.
I mean, this
So
is just
the-
half of,
So what's our,
Probably
this is pretty similar to when we first established the nuisance ordinance on Mill Street for the safety hazards down there. So what's the first step we need to take now that we have a nuisance ordinance on paper to address the health and safety concerns?
Well, our first step usually is we contact the landowner, which we've done. He
Okay.
contacted the other landowner, which we've done.
Okay.
So now we're trying the
so now this
code
goes to the
enforcement
code
officer.
enforcement.
Okay.
And does the code enforcement officer have authority to
Yes.
do
Yes.
something
Well,
about it?
and he can bring in the sheriff's
He
department or
actually
anything
works
else.
hand in hand with the judge and law enforcement,
Okay,
that they can come into any town inside the county to enforce what the cities are needing done if we don't have that person or
Right.
ability to do it, so all
So
we
you've
need to
already
do is
reached
get on, we need to get on his
Everyone's reached.
calendar so we can get them down here.
So that's
So-
what you guys are doing, so we're
we've
doing it.
already
Okay.
going forward with it.
Good.
Yeah,
Because
so,
I think there's health issues involved,
Oh, yeah.
and that's definitely could reach state level as far as enforcement or whatever we need to
but
do.
even after the last time we talked, and we all
Been
were saying
months.
we needed to do this,
In writing.
Months and months and months.
I constantly bring it up at every meeting I can try going to. That we need to get somebody down here because there's things that we can't do that only the county can do. And
Why
I
is-
hate
why
to
is
say it,
that?
I got 2 issues fixed real quick, but they weren't legitimate, big issues. But they were like 10-minute things that they could stop by, show a badge, say a couple things, and roads got reopened. Type
Well,
of thing.
that won't happen there.
But
So,
they're
it's
living.
This is a lot bigger,
It's
and
not gonna, you can't talk to them for one thing. They won't even answer the door.
It's impacting the
It would be good
neighborhood,
if you-
impacting the town.
It'd be good not to have confrontation.
At the
And
same
I'm
time,
concerned
I
about
don't
their
wanna
safety,
have
I'm concerned
conflict. He's
about their
already hurt
safety and
Clark.
health. They're living in
Clark's got
that,
a
they've
torn
got trailers
shoulder.
parked on that
It's a
manure
child
pile,
in there.
they're walking through it, the dogs are going in and out of
There's
their
little
cabin.
children this
They're-
big.
so the issue with the children currently is being addressed by others.
Oh, okay.
By the
Social
child
services.
So, yes, so from my
And he
understanding,
rides around on a motorcycle with that baby.
No, ATV,
Holding
no
on to it.
helmets or anything.
yeah,
No
so
helmets, the
as
three
far
of
as I
them.
understand, there's been community members that have called children's services and stuff, and children's services is already on top of it. It's one of those things
It
that,
is.
I hate to say, there's red tape that they've
There's
got to
things
get
this long.
certain
you know,
things to
just
get
that.
done with it. But they're already on top of it, actually due to past issues.
So that.
And you know what? It's so sad that someone lives like that in this town.
Hey,
Especially
I got a
someone
question,
that's.
code enforcement. You got a list of things, new laws or
Yeah.
can't do?
So
Have y'all
the
written any new,
Lake County
nuisance
has a
laws?
small 2-page thing of laws that were implemented for this year. None of them, the biggest one was no living in a travel trailer. That's the biggest one that's happened in the county right now.
No living in a
So
travel
you
trailer.
can't live in a, there's some, leeway there. The one is like if you have an active building permit, you can live in your travel trailer while you're building your house.
Mhm.
But
There's
we
a
have
couple,
the
and
new
you can get a
homeless
permit.
statutes is a problem.
You can get a permit to live in your trailer also.
What about the trailer impact of
Well,
life?
trailer courts are trailer courts, that's what they're designed and built
That's
for.
different, yeah.
What-
This is more private.
what this was-
This is a private property.
This is a private property or
Burned
non-established
house
property.
on it.
We should have a copy of that actually.
So-
Well, what's funny
We
is
looked at
5-6
before,
years ago,
so-
city council made a motion, made policy that those things are illegal, much to the chagrin of a resident here who really needed a place. She got kicked out. And it's already been done. You guys already have.
No,
This
this
is
is not
county
us, this
wide.
is county.
Oh,
This isn't us, we.
And, I mean, to nip it all in the butt, the reason why is because if anybody drives through Christmas Valley, every sagebrush now has a travel trailer at it.
I can imagine.
So, yes, you can buy the property for
I mean,
$3,200. You get 9 acres of sagebrush, non-agricultural, no water, no electricity.
And they
But
live in the
They put their
trailer.
trailer out there,
Well, that's what they
and
got
they
2
live.
of those. And the generators go.
gray water,
hours
black
a day.
water,
What it
it's all
comes
going
down
out
to is
there,
that,
so.
like, I think that I came to the commissioners meeting when they were discussing it, and they have no intentions of going around watching for people living in their camp trailers or staying, in their
I'm
camp.
sure
That
they
is
do.
not, it's gonna be complaint based, and it's gonna be if
And health
there's
hazard.
health and safety hazard there.
There's
They're
a
not
lot
gonna
of
go
them.
around and
Evicted people.
pull in and
No,
evicting people. That is not their thing. I mean, they don't have the manpower to do that, but they're trying to give themselves a little bit of
room
of a
to
bite.
clean stuff
yeah,
up.
so that
you know.
they can actually do something. And it's not like they come in and they kick you out right away either. You're given time to go through a process.
Well, they do that in big cities now too, but
I know. Well, I mean,
you
it
know,
just,
it's a mess.
I understand why they did it. I do think there's probably, like, I
time.
think the commissioner said that we're gonna run it like this for a little while. We know we're gonna have to make some tweaks to it.
So we need to wait until the code enforcement responds to our request and try to bump this up on his list because of there's children.
Even
But
though I've
Okay.
been physically attacked
Okay.
and need
So
surgery
that-
because of
No,
that.
when that happens, you call 911.
So,
Well, and
I will actually
I
put
felt-
this in
yes.
a sheriff's hand tonight,
Okay.
if I make my meeting.
I actually discussed it with a deputy
Yeah, so,
this last week.
And I'd be glad to go on a walk around with anybody.
He called the
and
police
Call me
and all
anytime,
that
no
stuff.
problem.
Yeah.
The police said they couldn't come anymore because it's too far, and if you knock on if you knock on the door, they don't answer.
If you're
So-
assaulted or you're in fear, you call 911 and it's
The thing is-
documented through dispatch. So
I-
no phone call is ever
Oh, he's
wasted.
got a torn rotator cuff
I feel
from it.
really bad because the same day it happened to Clark, it happened to me too. And I did pitch a fit, and they were like coming over and apologizing and everything.
Nobody did. Nobody
attacked-
apologized.
And I didn't know about him until a couple days later, but it
There's
scared
about
me.
4 or
I
5
worked
people.
in a purebred full operation, and that steer scared me because it wasn't afraid of me.
Well, it was 10 o'clock at night. It was
Yeah,
dark
I didn't
also.
realize.
Yeah.
Is that particular animal gone now?
Yeah.
Oh, he was gone the next morning.
Yeah, the next morning.
But he
got
only
butchered.
went to Moons. You know, he was supposed to have been.
Oh, he was
butchered.
Not butchered. He never got butchered.
They didn't butcher him. They
Dang,
took
I
him
got
to
satisfaction out of the
Moon. His best friend is Moon, and Moon is so disgusted with him, he doesn't even want any. He won't help him anymore. So that's why the animals today, we counted 6 dogs.
Oh, wow.
There's been 4, there's 6.
And that all falls under code enforcement, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
And
Well,
to
it also
have,
falls under city too, because in the city, it states you cannot have so many animals per so many square feet.
Right.
which they don't have
Unless
on
they are
property.
utilized as FFA or 4-H.
Right.
But you still can only have up to like 2 per 400
Limited
square feet or
space,
something like that.
Who runs the
10,000 square feet.
who
But then
runs
we go
the
back to the issue of not being able to enforce our
I know.
ordinances.
And that's
But
where,
now we have code
irrigation
enforcement.
district? Who runs the irrigation district part of through the city now? who runs the ditches and stuff? Like who's in charge of the ditches?
So Bagley Ditch, Dad's just in charge of moving water up and down, yeah. All of it goes to the water master.
Okay.
He's in
Yeah.
charge of it.
And the water, you saw where the water thing, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah,
That they're
dirty water.
running water through there, God knows what all they're doing in there.
So
Plus the restroom here, I heard they
We have
trashed
a-
it earlier.
And so I think we need to turn that into the water master or somebody does.
You get your phone?
I can't,
I
yeah,
gotta get hold of him about that.
I compromised.
And you know, when the house burned, we
Oh,
heard,
you haven't heard the best part yet, bro.
we heard that when the house burned, that our hydrant in front of our house was not working.
And being worked on.
It is?
No, it's
No,
about $13,000 to fix.
That's part of the infrastructure plan.
That's part of
but
the
no one told
infrastructure.
us. I mean, we
Yeah,
have
no,
no
so-
idea.
Sorry, that's my fault and stuff. There's actually
It's that
supposedly,
bad, huh?
there's an issue about,
Those valves.
yeah, like 7 feet
There-
down.
I went over and dug it out one day, cause after that, which I don't know how the heck that shut off. How did they
Yeah,
not
we
have
don't know
exposed
either
that?
because we went through all of our equipment. We don't even have a piece of equipment that does that.
Yeah, I don't.
We
it's
think
really
there's a
loud.
knob that was supposed to be on top of it and it's gotten broke off. And that's the reason
How
why.
far down?
Well, it was buried
It's,
too underneath.
it's probably a good 3 feet
Yeah,
or more
It's a
that
weird
that
thing.
valve is down there.
it's the weirdest
And
thing. I've never seen it. I mean, I've looked at a lot of the shut-offs around town and stuff, and I hadn't seen anything like that. But it
So-
needs to be. That is one of the things.
So where's
that
their
the
closest
500,000
one? I don't even know, because the one in front of his house didn't.
4,800 gallon tender that pulls it up real quick.
Well, over by
So you got
Carol's
one
storage
next
place.
to Colette's. You got one there.
Carol's story,
Carolyn, yeah.
between the two.
They've got one right there,
Because
and
they had
then
to roll
there's
out a
one
bunch.
right around the corner. We're still looking at running at least 250, 300 feet of hose sometimes to get it over there to have enough, but it's on our list,
We pray and hope for the best.
yes.
Yes.
Fire hydrants are like way up here for.
Yeah, right now, the fire hydrants are with the generators, but it's money and getting them approved so we can actually get the team that has to do this. It's not just a water guy that has to go
Certain
in.
people have
Hey,
to
yeah, it's a certain
install.
group that comes in, they'll dig it up, they'll fix it, and then we'll reopen all the valves again. So,
So the kids are taken care of, so to speak. They're working on that.
Mhm.
They're, and you're gonna have them talk to them about the water running through the building.
We need to contact
Yeah.
the water.
They have
master.
flooded the yard with all the poop and the
See, I don't
whatnot.
know what water rights they have, but the other thing is
And,
that most
by
of
the
the
way-
property there isn't his, isn't theirs. It's
It's,
Big
it,
Grams.
we've already talked to
I know.
Dwayne many
I know.
times. You
So,
have
so is
probably
the
too.
city. So,
He's just said he's by your side, whatever, he's just busy.
yeah,
But,
he really is busy too.
he really is, he's busy, but yeah, we watched him with a machine raking all the poop up one day and pushing it onto his property.
Well, it says probably pushing up the fence line and then they drag
And here he's
that
letting-
lot and all the dust comes up and we're breeding airborne
We have to go
manure
in
and
the back
urine.
of the house. Oh, it's
And the
terrible.
stink and, dust on the house
On
and
the
dust in
front
the
porch,
house.
if anybody comes up to visit, just
Again,
don't come.
that's, to me, that's a health issue
Yep.
of, pretty big concern.
And this
And
child
anybody
runs
down there?
around in it. They may bathe her in it. in the creek. I
Yeah,
don't know.
playing in their yard.
So we're definitely the water master, the code enforcement, the deputy.
yeah, I wanna drop this off on the sheriff tomorrow.
I just have to chime in. One more issue that I'm still concerned about is the alley being blocked on the other side.
So did they moved stuff out of the alley?
Well,
at one
it was like partially clear.
It's
I
off and
haven't
on.
looked
I
in the
tried,
last.
yeah, but then it'll be blocked again, and then it'll be like a little, you might be able to get a vehicle through there, I don't know, a small vehicle. But
Not
I
a fire
haven't
truck.
seen it totally
Oh, wait,
clear.
you talking about Cardoza's place?
Yeah.
And Dwayne Graham, he's got stuff in like
Oh.
a table saw and a kitchen range and stuff sitting in the middle. It's not passable. And when that fire happened, to me, that was a red flag or, illustrating why alleys need to be kept clear. But I brought it up and what did they say? Call the sheriff? Do you guys have other information?
Well,
That's
we
what I-
did
start
Oh, I mean, we actually did, and that's why,
They went to their door.
But
Well,
they wouldn't answer, right, is what I was
Well,
told.
I thought they did,
The first time.
yeah, because
they cleared their lawn.
everything was cleared.
It was gone for a while.
Gaylord's cleared
It was
theirs.
like a little
And
bit
then
clear for a
They
while.
did it, then they brought it
But
back.
then they did move something else back in there, but I thought it was
Yeah.
something small that
Well,
we,
maybe we can request,
Well, they put a boat on there's a
I know
boat
the
that sits
other
on the
alley
road and in the ditch.
Yeah, the one behind us, between you and my mom is good.
can we request officially to the fire department that they do, a safety check of all the alleys and streets in town?
Not without proper authority to go through with us, because we're volunteers. We have no
We would,
authority.
you'd have to do it.
no, but wouldn't you just
No,
do
can-
a survey and then?
To
Oh,
be able to do a safety drive through of all the alleys to make sure everything's cleared and safe and ready, can we
That's
do
the
that?
fire chief over there.
Can we make that
I just
request?
drive an ambulance and a tender.
If we make that request, then that's an official event, like, okay, this is a safety hazard, it must be addressed immediately.
Well, I've thought that for 2 or 3 years.
But if having one of the fire, if having the fire truck who will be showing up on scene if there is a fire, attempt to make sure an alley's clear, and it's not, then that has to be addressed immediately.
Well, there should be fines. People should have to pay for their
We
mistakes.
just now have code
And then they
enforcement.
won't do
We now have those.
We now have code
Come
enforcement,
on,
but we
Trying
have
to
to
get them to.
get up on his agenda.
Well,
We're
you
getting
put
there.
them in jail if they don't
We're
pay
getting
'em.
there, we have the nuisance ordinance, we have a code guy, so we are getting things done, we just have to wait our
The
turn.
enforcement's a hard thing.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, there's gotta be a balance to find here somehow that we have to make sure the decisions we're making, approving things don't affect, people negatively. But also, we don't wanna be so strict that nobody can do anything with their property, so
Right, exactly.
I don't know where the balance is. It just, people live in Paisley for a reason. They move here because they're all a little different.
But this property has overstepped the bounds.
This is
With all the
impeding the neighbors.
animals
This
and
is
everything.
causing.
Yeah.
Kelly
He has
has
to have
to
surgery.
live right up against
That's
2
what it is.
cows, 2 horses,
Well, the whole
4
thing.
or 6
The
cows.
whole thing,
But
all
it
those
is-
critters in one half of the backyard,
It hurts your
and that
property
drains into
value.
her yard.
It hurts you physically. You've gotten hurt physically. The smell, the flies, the
Health,
water flooding.
it's health.
It's a health issue
You know,
for the
it's-
neighbors. It's no longer.
And it's been going on for so long,
this
even
is a-
before
So
the fire.
your injury, Clark, was a direct result of that incident?
Yes.
He got-
The civil court had,
No, I had problems with him living the way he did before that happened.
He's just been
But that was a catalyst.
the injury, because the civil court has
Yeah.
much bigger teeth if you go that
He has
route
nothing.
financially for that injury.
Well,
It probably doesn't
common
have-
sense tells him I spend a lot of money on lawyers and
Yeah.
trying to
And
do a
win,
civil
but-
action, and what would the result be?
He probably hasn't
A
got
lien.
any money to
He can't, I
People,
understand
his
he can't pay
history.
his water bill half the time.
So you
How
get a
can
lien
I-
on his property.
How can I, get anything
No,
back,
it's
even
fine,
pay my
it's not
lawyers,
his
let alone
property. It's paid.
compensation?
Yeah, I
Really?
don't. It's not hard for us to back you
Interesting.
on this because
And
It's
Faye
you
doesn't
too,
want
I
any
have to
part
say.
of him and doesn't even want him living there, so she can't even get him out.
I think we're on the right
Yeah.
path with code enforcement, because they have the teeth
Yeah,
to do this.
we've got some
It's-
hope on the horizon for
But
that.
I would encourage you guys, everybody in this room, to call in things that you see. The child riding around on.
To the 911.
I would.
You have to do it to 911 so it's documented.
You have to do 911.
If you
Without a
call
help.
non-emergency, it's not documented.
When you're gonna be seeing the fire marshal on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Maybe you could say, do you wanna take a drive with me? And just make
That might
them
be
aware.
Yeah, I thought about getting everybody to walk down there and walk around the property and then see everybody go around.
Yeah, for council meeting.
But we don't have time, everything's too
But I don't know if
crazy.
it'd be light enough to see anything after the end of this meeting.
Yeah, no kidding.
Don't worth seeing if you haven't seen it.
Alright, so,
Okay, so I don't think we're not,
anyway, I will turn this in to one of the sheriffs tonight.
Again,
And stuff. Well, the biggest thing they kept telling me is they needed to see documentation after documentation. Because that's the only,
Dudes drive by.
And
It's
I
like
have
the
been checking
Zoom.
with Missy to have some kind of a record
yeah,
of
so,
it, and, I don't know if this is something that could be brought to the county commissioners where it's become such a safety and health issue that it goes beyond just being here in town.
bring it to the county commissioners. You got them on speed dial.
Conflict of interest.
Fine, I
You
will, I
overestimate
will, I
that
will do that.
relationship.
You know, and it's a shame because anywhere we go, the conversation ends up talking about his shoulder because he's in pain all the time and he doesn't want to do the surgery. But that's beside the point. But it's just so funny because everybody knows him. Everybody has a story. And he has done this his entire life. And that's sad to me, very sad to me,
Yeah.
that he has lived like this all of his life.
At this point, we just need to.
Oh, and the lives that we get are just hilarious.
Could write a book.
The twins were the best. She said she was pregnant with twins. It must be elephants because she still hadn't had it. That and what was the newest one? Oh, they bought the double wide ranch at
Running Y.
Huh?
Running Y.
Running Y ranch, yeah.
And to manage it and take over the.
Yeah, and they're gonna be moving like 2 weeks ago. Years at all time.
Okay,
We
so
will hop
we're
on
taking
that.
action.
Yes, we will get on this one.
I make
It's,
a motion, we'll let this go.
yeah.
So I
Good.
make a motion that we adjourn since we're at the end of our agenda. Oh, wait,
We're not, I don't, oh yeah.
there's more?
Mhm.
Can you legally open the bar?
So, oh, sorry.
I know, guys.
Honestly,
If you don't have any questions for me, then I think.
I'm gonna make.
no, not yet. If I do, I'll
Okay.
get hold of you guys.
Thank you
Thank you for taking the time to document
For
this.
putting it in writing.
That's what we needed.
It's
Yeah,
taken a while, but thank you, Chris.
you betcha.
Sorry you guys had to sit for so long before your turn came up.
I hope I can get up now. Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion on the minutes from April.
We did
Yes.
the minutes, we need to invoices.
Oh.
Just checking. Travis,
That was Fiji.
Mayor.
Travis does want to, when we bring up starting the watering hours. He talked about not watering between 9 AM and 6 PM.
That's the same time we had last year, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so if anybody drives by the school and sees that front water going, I just wanna make it clear right now that that is water coming from the sump pumps in the
Pump it out in
basement.
the basement.
Yes, so it's not coming from the city water supply,
There are endangered fishes in that water table down there.
really?
Yeah,
Okay,
right,
well, you
yeah,
go show me where those endangered fishes are. Come on down. It's a hole in the floor in the basement and it comes out.
They've
to
been
the
there
yard.
since I was a kid.
Is that like those micro that are out on
I
the
don't feed
desert?
fish, but there's certainly a lot of.
My turn.
Anyway. Okay, and then in this set, don't turn Travis in.
And the cemetery is not being run. He's not up and checked a few times.
There's a cleanup day coming up here.
Yes.
Is there? There's-
Oh, for the cemetery?
Yeah,
What day is that?
4-H is doing it
4-H
on
is
the
doing
22nd.
Yeah, the 22nd. I knew it was coming up here soon.
22nd at 4-H and Clover Buds
Clover buds.
will be, they're
Gosh,
so adorable. Anyways,
there's like 20 of them.
Clover buds, is that 4-H?
It's
that's
the little
that's the
4-H
little ones,
under
the ones that are starting.
They're so cute.
Okay, well, I don't know what the mayor has to say now.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I mean, I got a lot. I want to propose two things to city council, but I kind of needed. Anyways,
Did they leave?
no, she went to the bathroom.
Oh, they?
Yeah, they, and all the other city council members.
Again, there's an empty seat, so
Two.
if anybody wants to put in for
Yeah, Lori.
one.
Two.
I have been thinking about it, that's all I'm gonna say.
Pressure
I
on.
don't know
Alright, so I'll just.
Usually it's a lot.
She'll be back.
First things first, I had a long talk with Larry from Business Oregon on Friday about proposed grants for rural areas. He's getting back with me on some of these, especially towards the effects of the rodeo grounds and what's happening out there. The only problem is, I gotta find this email, is their lowest grant that's available is $250,000.
Wow.
That's where it starts. I told him we definitely didn't need that much money.
Well, we could probably find a way to back up
So,
there.
There's a lot. There's also a lot that goes along with trying to get that $250,000 that we don't qualify for.
So as far as that, the well out there, if it's just stock water, we don't have to have a water right. I did talk to the water master about that.
Well, that's awesome news.
As long as they are not using over half an acre, and not using over 15,000 gallons a day, I think is what he said.
Was there ever a meter on it? Do we know?
As far as I know, there was never a meter on it.
Okay, but it is for stock though, so that's great news.
Well, that's something, and that's the question I put out to the rodeo club too.
So we didn't wanna have to
if-
test the water and do all
Yeah,
that stuff.
if it's non-potable, is it gonna cause an issue?
Did you reach out to them? You said?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, you haven't heard back.
For people, but for animals.
Yeah, their
Well,
their main
fine
concern
for
was
the
animals.
It's just, I'm saying, the people are gonna have to haul their water, which, you know, they normally do anyway,
Yeah.
but.
Well, did we
know.
test that water before? Was it potable, considered potable water before?
I think it was tested before, I'm not positive, but I don't
But it
think
wasn't
it
on a regular
was-
basis.
Yeah,
Not
no,
like city water,
no.
I
So
just
that's
think
something to keep
stock
in
water
mind.
seems to be their biggest issue and
Yeah,
they'll be
that's-
able to tell the water trucks so that they can, right?
That was
Because
their
they still
focus.
wanna be able to wet.
So
them.
currently what Matt is doing is they're gonna put 3 tanks out there,
Like cisterns?
3 big tanks. I think they're 250 gallons apiece.
Have they abandoned the well idea for now?
No.
Oh, okay,
They just
gotcha.
don't wanna delay in season.
Yeah, they just need
Temporarily,
to get it on.
and then as we will uphold our end because of this city, then we will run water out when those tanks need filled up.
Okay.
I think,
So
the main thing was not having it be, if we could get it so it's doesn't have to be potable water, I think it's doable.
So then comes the next question of, that's part of the reason I'm having troubles finding grants for it is because it's
No.
safe drinking water.
Water, drain.
So if we go with just stock water,
The city needs to foot the bill for it.
how are we going to pay for it? Yeah.
What would the difference be?
Safe drinking water for animals.
Well, if it is, so if
Animals
we
are
make
people
it
too,
drinking
right?
water, it's gonna cost a lot more money to do it, first off. It's gonna have to be tested consistently.
But we'd have the grant.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what happens if there's arsenic in it?
Then we have to build another treatment plant, or we have to pull
She's right,
piping
yes.
clear out there.
There's a possibility that happens.
And I would say, you know, we live just a couple miles down the road and ours is high in arsenic. So I'd say they probably are too.
So the grant most likely won't apply if it's just gonna be stock water.
It will not.
Did they come
Okay.
back to us with some
Okay.
estimates for the well?
No,
Punching a hole?
I've got a hold of them, I'm waiting for,
But they said they had somebody who would really work with us.
yes.
On a payment plan.
Okay.
Hopefully that includes a good price too.
And I still think that we could possibly get some people to contribute because the idea is to
Nature of
keep
the
that going
usage.
out there.
Yeah.
So,
But, I mean, not the whole thing, but any little bit helps and
my thoughts are, if budget is coming.
Yeah.
We have our tax account, it's tax money from the community.
Right.
If we could use some of that, if we could get donations from some of the ranches that use it, and some of the people.
And we can task that to the rodeo club to reach out to
Well, that's-
the participants,
Yeah.
which are along the ranches.
the rodeo club isn't a nonprofit, but the Pyra is.
Correct.
So
Right.
they could
Right.
accept donations.
Yes, Pirate can accept donations on their behalf.
To go towards the new
Yes.
well.
until that $10,000 cap is met, and then they have to Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas it's a
But we wouldn't
nonprofit
expect them to raise the money for the whole thing either, but I
Right.
know that it's kind of, it would offset the cost possibly.
I don't know.
So as soon as I get that from them, then I can put out the bids and see where we're at and hopefully have an answer soon.
But they have an alternative plan so they don't delay their season.
Which is a really good idea, they went with the cisterns.
Yeah, cause they should
That
be getting
was smart.
started here anytime.
And the other thing the caveat off of that was I talked to the BLM people. There's a grant coming out. It won't be ready for 3 years. That is, see, I just got it in my email. That is acceptable to rural areas to put water into those areas that need water. The only problem is 3 years out.
Yeah.
The other idea that was brought up to me was, I did not know this until I drove out there and did a lot of working and trying to find it. There's a well at the airport. Yep.
Really?
Really?
Do they use it?
Took me quite a while
Is
to
that one
find
on the
it.
county records?
So I suppose I guess it used to irrigate the orchard that was out
Well,
there.
the seed orchard that the Forest Service had a well, but it was really high in boron content.
So that
and
was
that's why
their
they couldn't.
that was their biggest concern was what it had still
Yeah.
inside of it.
Huh.
And then
NBC,
so
right here.
right here.
You know these things.
I know too much.
So
That's
see,
why.
somebody else knew what I was talking about, but
nobody's
it
gonna
took me
argue with
forever
you.
to find it.
Yeah,
It's,
they were gonna grow all the seedlings out there until.
That's what that fence is for out there?
Big chain link, huge fence.
Yeah, it looks like a.
no,
Kids were
Well, it
like,
makes
Mom,
sense.
what's in there?
That's why they have those
Invisible
the dry
creatures.
pivots at ZX is because those pivots are high in boron.
They
And it
can't
doesn't
grow
grow
anything.
anything.
see what that shrimp. Anyway, so yeah, so I mean it took me a while to find it.
Endangered species of fish.
So
But can stock drink something that has fluoride on it?
I don't know about
I'm not
that.
sure about that either.
yeah.
Especially
Just
when
know
you
for
feed
growing
animals.
things.
I just know I have a lamb that keeps escaping.
They're just random.
Yes.
Alright, and next on review now that everybody's back. I just propose and ask the counselors to think about these two things for when you guys are deciding on your next mayor and city council members, is to do a synopsis of why they want to be a city council member. We can ask the kids to write letters about why they want to be a mayor and what they would do for the city. Then as adults, I think we should be able to tell exactly why we wanted to be on city council. So think about that when you guys go to choose your next council members and stuff. And also, think about delegating some duties. I've tried my hardest to do everything. I've missed a lot of meetings. I've missed a lot of stuff. But delegating duties down to one council member that coincides with Travis. Keeps up with him knowing what's going on. In case Travis can't be here, that council member will know. The county commissioners do it. They're under they oversee transportation, they oversee water, they oversee sewer, all that stuff. You know, take some heart in, you know, being part of the community. I got 3 lights that are about to be fixed because I drive around at night looking at street lights because I have no life. So there's another duty. We got homelessness coming up. March 2023, we have to have a proposal written up for the state. Never heard anything since the last time we talked about it.
We're in a very large pool of little rural towns and cities, waiting to find out what the bigger cities are gonna do, so we have something to follow. Everybody's in this unknown.
I said we go off of the 2 cities that I've personally talked to that are just a little bit bigger than us, that pretty much are going on their second look of theirs. So I'll just put it out. John Day and Enterprise have some really nice ones already. So all you have to do is contact these people. They're pretty much easy to talk to and they get everything going. This one, I don't know how to do this. I just told the guy, I apologize, I don't know what to do for him. If you talk to somebody, stop promising things that Paisley can do for them and then not letting anybody know. I don't know what the guy was talking about. Supposedly we're supposed to help him out with land and finding a place to live. I don't know. Said he talked to somebody in town that told him he could do it. You guys hear about that? Just stop, and then I'll talk to Brian tonight about the generator.
So somebody that was an official capacity?
No,
Oh,
just said that the town promised help, that they would help him.
the town promised it.
So,
Hmm.
and then unfortunately, I'm sorry, I just can't do it no more. Here's my resignation letter from being mayor and city council. Hate to have done it at the end of the meeting, but I've tried my hardest. I just can't do it no more. I will finish off this stuff with Clark, report it to the sheriff. I will keep in contact with SCOED until the next mayor comes on. And then I will get them into the boat with Denise and everybody there. I'll get them in contact with Larry. I will make sure that it does not follow through, but as of right now, this is my last time at this table.
Well, you've done a great job and we appreciate everything
So,
you've done.
Here's my letter. I don't know what's next.
Missy has to accept her letter.
Well, you guys have to accept it. I already don't know that.
I know that this is, my last run on city council was not smooth, and my term came to an end. I never resigned, but this last year has not been great. And I don't know if the rest of the, if the city really takes into account this is a small community. Any decisions we make here gets thrown back in our face 100 times, whether people agree with you or don't agree with you or whatever. And there's a lot of family. Technically Tony and I are related. Everybody's related somehow. In some way I'm related to you too. Anyway, it's difficult, and Craig gets a lot of scrutiny. He wears a lot of different hats around town, and we do appreciate what he does. And on the top of that, being a single dad and taking care of his parents, and he's running around doing a lot of stuff, and hasn't deserved all the flack he's gotten in this position, but I'll accept his letter because I think it's good for his health to not have this on his plate anymore.
I never heard anything but good things about you.
I know, but
There's a lot of good things, but there's stuff under the table that I get. I hate to say it, my kids have been affected by comments and criticisms from adults.
That's upsetting. You've been an outstanding mayor.
Same with my kids.
Yeah, you've done an awesome job.
But as you guys know, I'm pretty much from here. I'll always be here. So I will still be here for the city.
You have to prioritize and putting your family first, you'll never regret.
Right, and
I can always
I hope you're still gonna be with the fire department at the EMT.
Oh yeah, so right now it's mainly SAR, then EMS, and then fire. Fire's got quite a few people now, but
So we really appreciate everything you've done. You've done an awesome job of, getting in touch with all the agencies and everything. And but we want your best welfare.
I needed this coffee today.
But I will move that we accept his resignation letter because I think he's served his time and
Good job. Now he's on parole.
Yeah, you served your time.
I second it with a silent hope that, city council will be here and positions come and go, but you are far more positive impact on our community than you know.
Yeah.
That this isn't the end of you participating and using all your skills for the community.
Right.
I still got connections, so.
So you could be an ad hoc advisor consultant.
So anyways, public notice. Mr. Green, did you have something for the city? You just came to watch this?
Somebody
Which is
called me
nice.
the other day and said thank you for taking care of the city council. I didn't know what they were talking about.
So it probably wasn't the meeting you're expecting. You
No,
guys
this is,
to
well, it's nice that people come to the meeting though.
I'm looking forward to the summer when I bring a whole truckload of kids up to the falls and interfere with you guys' nice quiet.
As long as we just need our little rock right.
How many times did we chase you out last year? We showed up with 16 teenagers and
Let's go to
chased
that
out the
secret
green.
swimming hole.
Yeah, there needs to be a couple extra swimming holes.
So Lori, I think you need to sign on. We need you.
I know that really somebody's needed, I'm just not sure if it's me. I'm trying to do a lot of soul
It's
searching
actually
and think about it,
sugar-free.
but
Whoa, you better, like, you know what? We need to let Craig go that way because
Steph,
he's got a
pen as he goes by.
Is there a,
There was a motion to adjourn.
a second?
Well, I mean, I asked for a public appearance and Tim and them said they were just here for good times and stuff.
We're just bored, we're like you have a life.
So I guess on that note, my last thing will be, you guys don't want to do this again. This meeting's adjourned.
It was even nice and gentle.